is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug and Los until 10, halfway through the work week. Loving the Wednesday, loving hump day. Glad that you're here. 404-741-1230 is the number. If you'd like to jump into the conversation, you're always welcome. There's a lot of conversation to be had. There's so much going on in the world. Last night, I'd had my fill, though. In the evening time, I'd had my fill. I was watching the Braves game, just trying to escape a little bit. And just because the news is so heavy after a while, I was like, okay, let me take my focus off of this for just a little bit. Mm-hmm. And my son's playing ball last night. Kid is playing really well. 5-game hit streak, man. He's just doing, he's just playing really well. I think he's hitting almost 450 or something.
Wow.
And his the stats we got sent. Somebody sent us stats. He has gone 11 for 20 with 3 extra base hits and just playing really good. And then he texts me out of the blue last night as I'm watching the Braves game, as their game's getting started. I'm kind of watching on my phone, and says, I don't know, I did something to my arm throwing a ball in. The ball was wet because it's been raining up there. He's like, I threw it and the ball just got loose and my arm thrashed forward. And it was like it hurts like crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that took my mind off of it for a little while. And talking through him, and he seemed to be okay. I don't know if he just I don't know what happened. There's no way for me to know. But he did say it was feeling better last night before bedtime, which was good news.
That's good. He didn't hear a pop or anything, right?
He said he did not. No.
Good.
Which is what makes you nervous. But so that took my focus off of everything for a little while. Anytime something happens to your kid, that obviously takes the full attention. And then and the Braves get this crazy walk off.
Yeah.
In the 10th inning, because I'll admit, when the Braves were down the entire game, there wasn't a whole lot of me that was going, yeah, I think they got it in them to come back.
Yeah, this is one of those years that they don't exactly inspire championship run or confidence.
Yeah.
But it is nice when you can beat a team like the Mets that's in the division. Beat them in that fashion.
Absolutely. With them being in first place and us, scuffling at best.
And Acuna got on base 5 times last night.
Yeah.
Mostly walks, but still.
We'll take it.
Absolutely. And he's up there hitting leadoff, getting on base, doing the right job.
Yeah. And had an amazing catch in the game. Guys just...
off Soto, right?
Yeah. Guys, he's just so much fun to watch. He's a once-in-a-generation talent. There's just not a lot of Ronald Acuñas out there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Shohei Ohtani is incredible. Soto's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Judge is incredible.
Much as I hate to admit it, Bryce
Harper's incredible. Definitely on the kind of the backside of his career, though.
Sure.
Or at least hit the top and slowly descending on the other side, as he's been in the league for a long time.
He's a cartoon. If you were going to write a cartoon and have a villain as a baseball player, that's Bryce Harper.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't see him as a villain. I like him a lot.
It's just because he plays for the Phillies.
Well, yeah, because he plays for I'm with that.
If he was on my team, he'd be my favorite player.
I'm booing him every time he comes to the plate, no doubt. But, just as a player, unless he's playing the Braves, I got no problem with him. Yeah, he's a family guy.
Yeah. Super
dialed into his family, super dialed into his faith. He's just a good dude. And that's the thing I think I like about him most. But definitely he's in that conversation too.
Aaron Judge?
Judge for the Yankees, of course. He's lighting it up. He's a MVP style season.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, Ronald Acuna is right there with all those guys. He's if not equal to, certainly in the same category of superstar as those guys, and it's great to see.
And he plays with such style.
Yeah, he does. He plays with flair.
If he didn't have his name on his jersey, you'd be able to pick him out of 100 ball players.
You'd be like, yep, that's
immediately.
The one. That's the guy right there, which is so funny. But fun to have him on the team, and expect that he'll probably be an all-star And you saw where Brian Snitker was added to the All-Star coaching staff, which is cool.
Love that.
Yeah. But it's the right thing to do. Braves season is not going as expected or as we wanted it to. Doesn't mean it won't turn around. But Snit has done so much for this organization in 40-plus years. This year being no different. Heart and soul into it. A lot of people like to I mean, any manager, not just Snit, any manager, if it's not going the way that they want it to, every error, every mistake is amplified and talked about to no end.
I was listening to a little bit of the rain delay show yesterday on our sister station 680, and somebody called in. You know, they take a lot of calls on the rain delay because you got to fill that time. And somebody called in and said, "Why does Snitker still have a job?" I was like, buddy, he won the World Series just a few years ago.
Yeah, just 4 years.
Let the man breathe.
4 seasons ago. And it's not like he's been handed this gift of a wealth of talent. The bullpen is awful. Alex Anthopoulos knows the bullpen's awful. That's got nothing to do with Brian Snitker.
Right.
That's zero to do with Brian Snitker. So, yeah, those folks, I don't get the fire Snit crowd. Never have, never will. But, I mean, I know they're out there, and you got your right to your opinion. I just think your opinion's wrong. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, Angela
last night
Morabito
for the boys.
Wait, what's that?
It's a great win last night for the boys.
Angela Morabito running just a little behind this morning will join us in the next segment. But as we talk to Neil Bortz, the Talkmaster, in for front office Los, text back and forth a little bit of Los. Things seem to be going really, really well with the girls down in Florida. Seems to be a really, really fun trip, and I know they're doing spectacularly well. Another big thing that's happening today, aside from the attack on Iran by Israel, and weighing what does the United States do, I think Donald Trump's playing this whole thing the right way. We got that. Then you have the candidate, the comptroller for New York City, getting arrested. Lander is his name.
Brad Lander.
Yeah, just another Democrat performative thing that the American people look at as so foolish, and it doesn't convince anybody. I don't believe. Maybe years ago, maybe even a few years ago, that would convince somebody, yeah, this guy's trying to do something. It looks foolish.
Well, we talk so much about the Democrats' playbook and what they've always done. They keep on going back. The name calling, the Nazi this, and fascist stuff, that stuff doesn't work.
Outdated.
And this is not new, but I think they're leaning into this because they want that. They were counting on some kind of photo op with the protests this past weekend. Didn't get it. So they'll take the professionals, the ones who are wearing the suits in office, and try to get their photo op with that. And they're getting their photo op, but people aren't buying it.
No, they're not. And the polling shows it. The polling is so strong against this stuff. I mean, the Padilla stunt was nothing but a stunt. Seeing him speak in front of Congress and his time in Congress, he's like, oh, this never happens to any
I've got that real quick if you want to.
Yeah, we absolutely play it because it's so absurd.
I was forced to the ground.
Yes, you were.
First on my knees.
Yep.
And then flat on my chest.
Yes.
Yeah, alligator teeth.
And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway.
As you should have been.
Repeatedly asking, why am I being detained?
You know the answer.
Not once did they tell me why.
They didn't have to tell you why. You knew the reason why. You did it to get arrested. You did it for the photo op.
And he deliberately didn't have his security pin on. He didn't. Of course. He waited until halfay through they were arresting him. Now he's trying to identify himself.
Yeah. All of a sudden, that way you have the ability to do what you just did. That's all it is. So performative. The Brad Lander thing, performative, so ignorant, and the American people rejected it. And then Kathy Hochul comes out yesterday behind a Brad Lander, whatever they speak in front of.
Podium,
that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. And she's like, we're going to, because of all this, we're going to provide $50 million, taxpayer dollars, for legal services for illegal aliens. Dude, you're not winning. You are doing exactly opposite of what the American people expect you to do. Or at least or maybe I say expect, because I kind of expect Kathy Hochul. I've misspoken. I kind of expect Brad Lander and Kathy Hochul to do the wrong thing. But what the American people want is the better. Mm-hmm. That's the better thing. And you're seeing the polling number in California. Holy cow. I don't know if you've seen them. So Medi-Cal is their state-run medical service. And it is bankrupting the state. So Gavin Newsom says it's going to cost this. It's like 10 times that. And now the polling is starting to really turn on providing legal and health for illegals in California, the most liberal state in the country. Mm-hmm. And it's not even close. And they're saying no. And it's like 56% of Californians are saying enough. And the Democrats continue to lean into it. It's not helping them. It is going to continue to hurt them as they use that old playbook and as they continue to take the 20% on every 80-20 issue. They take the wrong side. They're on the wrong side of history for every issue. Every one of them. I can't think of anything that they get right.
The divide between the New Yorks, Chicago, and Los Angeles, California types and the rest of the country, I really think it's never been greater.
There's definitely that. But I'm thinking even places, like people that live in New York City, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, or you take it statewide, Illinois, New York, and California, I think those people are even going, we're tired of this. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm saying that polling is pointing to that they're even saying, okay, enough. We've had enough of this. We've tried it. It didn't work. You told us it was going to be this great utopia, and it's not. Mm-mm. We're getting nothing for paying the most taxes in the entire country. And you continue to say, we're going to give more. We're going to give more. Where's that money coming from? It's coming from you, Californians. And they're finally realizing it. I mean, the numbers are staggering as far as pointing the other direction in a state that you would never expect to poll that way. But I think people are getting so fed up with what is happening that they're just finished. They're through. You and I have been through for, I don't know if we ever started, so we were through before we started, But people in those blue states and blue cities, I think, are catching on.
Well, it's so interesting. In Georgia, we're a very red state with a big blue dot.
Yeah, sure.
Right there in Atlanta. And we can see that dichotomy. We can see, just at the local level.
Yeah, sure.
The counties that don't have that kind of leadership in place seem to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's right.
As my dad says, I didn't lose anything in Atlanta.
Yeah, right. You know what's sad, though? Because I grew up loving to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. Living in Dalton, northwest Georgia, we're about 85 miles, I guess probably 80 from where we are here at the Battery, Atlanta, so another 20. So, we're maybe 90 miles from Atlanta. And you thought, man, we're going to the big city. We're going to big time. Because we go to Chattanooga all the time. Chattanooga's a great city. Love Chattanooga. But it just didn't have the mystique Atlanta did. And maybe it was just because I saw Chattanooga a lot and didn't get to Atlanta a lot as a kid. Just my aunt lived on the south side of Atlanta, still does. And coming here was so spectacular, coming through and seeing the stadium and seeing the Delta sign. I thought it was the coolest. Seeing the Coca-Cola sign, I thought it was the coolest. Those were cultural things that meant something to me. I didn't know that at the time. I had no idea. I'm a kid. I just saw them, and I knew what they were, what they meant. Seeing and the stadium was always, the Gold Dome, seeing the capital of the state of Georgia that I love so much and was taught to love so much, and I see it, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Coming to Atlanta was the most amazing. It was the best. And now I'm like your dad. Man, it's tough. It's tough to even want to go down there.
Like me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got no appetite for it because it's...
And it's easier too. Maybe it's easier because because you're in Woodstock and I'm in Alpharetta, you have everything you need.
Absolutely.
There's no reason to leave, right? Everything's there around you. Maybe years ago you had to go to Atlanta to go to a really nice restaurant. You had to go to Atlanta to go to a Braves game. Not anymore.
No, sir.
I mean, this place that we sit on has an Atlanta address, but let's not pretend.
No.
This ain't Atlanta, which is the whole reason to put it here.
Right.
All the Braves fans are in this area is the reason they decided to move it here. And then to build this incredible spread that is the Battery Atlanta, which is, the jewel of Major League Baseball, kind of getting back to where we started. So many other cities that want to build the exact same thing, want to do the exact same thing, and have that for their fans, have that for the people that live in their city. But that's the whole point. Like, you don't got to go to Atlanta anymore. Mm-hmm. You can come to the Battery.
Well, something that comes to mind talking about the differences in the blue states and the red states, I think it was Sean Duffy. We'll have this a little bit later on. Angela wanted to talk about it. He's selling these blue states, hey, when these riots come up, damage, we're not going to cover it.
It's on y'all.
Yep. You're on your own.
You're allowing it to happen. You should be able to pay for it. And I can't say that I disagree with him. I can't say that I'm like, maybe we should help them. No, we shouldn't. You know exactly what you're allowing. You know what the expense is. You know what the cost is. You've seen it happen 1,000 times. I mean, we've all seen that play out so many times. I think it's good, and it's one of those soft tactics to go, okay, you made your bed, now lay in it. And I like that, and I think most Americans probably like that too.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the continued. You remember in 2020 when it was every single weekend, people weren't going to work.
Oh my God.
The only activity you were legally allowed to do
was riot.
Get out there and protest. We're not seeing those numbers.
No, you're not. You're not. And the people that are out there are the ones you expected.
Yeah.
I love it. We brought this up last week. I can't remember. It was a black conservative commentator, and he was like, we don't see any black people out there.
And he was proud of it,
And he was proud of it, as he should be.
Right.
Don't fall for that crap. Dude, let the white libs get out there and do that stupid crap. Let the anarchists have it. Dude,
the anarchists come out at night, and then during the daytime, they wheel out everybody from the retirement homes.
It's the elderly libs that are out there.
I don't even know what they're waving for.
Dude, I can't figure them out. I can't figure out the mentality at all. They don't resonate with me. They don't make sense to me. We won't talk about it here, but here in just a little bit, we'll get to the unfit to serve hearing that's going on today. Just trying to figure out, hey, what did or did we not know about the Biden administration? Of course, Chuck Schumer, totally against it. Dick Durbin says, complete waste of time. I don't think the American people believe it's a complete waste of time to know what happened in their country in the last 4 years. I think they probably really want to understand what happened in the last 4 years.
I do.
Me too. So there's two. And if you're in on it too, 404-741-1230 at Extra 1063 across the social media platforms. We'd love to hear from you, talk to you this morning. Whether you're streaming on the Extra 1063 app, which is the most convenient and the best way to listen, or streaming it on the 680, what am I saying? The Extra 1063 YouTube channel. It's available, extra1063.com, 1063 FM, 1230 AM. There's so many ways to listen and be part of the discussions that matter when it comes to the United States of America. 6 o'clock hour brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett.
Did you miss Neil Bortz?
I am shocked.
Don't worry. He's live anytime on the Extra 1063 app.
Oh, that radio show.
Did traffic cause you to miss some of the Kimmer Show? Get it on the app.
It's all the kids talk about on Monday at school.
With anytime show replays from the Kimmer, Bortz, the Morning Extra, Clay and Buck, and so much more. Plus local headlines and breaking news. Grab the Extra 1063 app now and start streaming.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Los. Let's talk about True Prep because you need to be prepared in these turbulent times. Now, I know just a couple of weeks ago, it was an earthquake. That was pretty crazy. Well, civil unrest might be on the menu. That's what the communists do have planned. Well, be ready for that. Again, something that you can prepare for by having one of the best stores in the entirety of the country in your backyard. That's True Prep, right off of Cobb Parkway in Marietta. And also, go to trueprep.com because they have basically their hotspot for incredible savings and deals. They have a new deals page. You'll be able to see it right there on the right side of the website. It's going to tell you about their hot sales, their clearance items. That includes firearms, prepping gear, and more. Or you can check out their used and consignment page for top quality guns and gear at unbeatable, and I'm telling you, unbeatable prices in the marketplace. And both of those pages are updated every single day, some of them hourly, depending on what has flown off the store shelves. So what do? You can head on over to Cobb Parkway in Marietta, right over the True Prep, or go online, trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
At Jim Ellis Buick GMC, power, performance, and savings come standard, especially now. For a limited time, qualified buyers can save up to $12,250 off MSRP on the bold new 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation. With over 50 elevations in stock, there's no better place to find your next truck. Built to turn heads and built to work, the Sierra Elevation features a rugged design, elevated stance, advanced tech, and the capability to tow, haul, and conquer your day. And at Jim Ellis Buick GMC, you get a transparent, no-nonsense buying experience from the dealership Atlanta has trusted for decades.
Start your search at JimEllisBuickGMC.com or shop in person in Chamblee off Peachtree Boulevard, inside the perimeter, or in Beaufort off Highway 20 near 985. Jim Ellis, Buick GMC, we are professional grade.
Offer applies to select 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation models. Example stock number GS4427, MSRP $68,034 after $9,750 in Jim Ellis discount. Sale price is only $58,284. $2,500 trade assistance available with 2011 or newer trade-in. Offer excludes TABT and state fees. Expires June 30th, 2025.
It's June 18th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Splurge Day. Go ahead and treat yourself to something magnificent. You deserve it. Also on this day in 1983, Sally Ride becomes the first American woman in space.
Of STS-7 and America's first woman astronaut.
Right, serving as a mission specialist on the Shuttle Challenger. President Jimmy Carter and Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev signed the SALT II nuclear treaty in 1979. The deal provided for limitations and guidelines for nuclear weapons, but it never formally went into effect. In 2000, Tiger Woods, with a record-setting victory to capture his first U.S. Open championship, his 15-shot victory at Pebble Beach breaks old Tom Morris's record for the largest margin of victory in a major championship of 13 strokes, which had stood since 1862. Born on this day in 1942, Paul McCartney of Beatles fame. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Marietta City Council approved a plan for a 31-acre data center campus to be built on Bells Ferry Road. City staff said the data center will generate significant tax revenue for both the city of Marietta and the Marietta school system. Planned development will house 2 buildings, a substation, and a detention pond to manage runoff rainwater. Atlanta-based movie mogul Tyler Perry is being sued for $260 million. Actor Derek Dixon is accusing Perry of sexual harassment, assault, and retaliation. The lawsuit filed in Los Angeles says Dixon first met Perry while working at Perry's studios in Atlanta. And Ackworth police officers are being commended for their compassion and attentiveness. Officers LaFave and Hatcher helped locate a missing North Carolina man with dementia during a traffic stop Sunday night. The officers noticed the man's distress and found that he was reported missing after a records check. He was transported to Kennestone for treatment, and his family was notified. Today's weather, partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Temperatures will reach the high 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Angela Morabito in for Front Office Los this morning. And when you hear that music, you know Neil Boris, the talk master, is ready and raring to go. Neil, what's up, man?
Hi, Angela.
Hi, Neil.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Vertical?
That seems like a good way to be.
Actually, I'm a little concerned about my mental health right now.
Wow. Neil?
Yeah, I am. Look, you know this Vance Bolter, whatever his name is?
Yeah,
shot?
in Minnesota, yeah.
You know when I really got mad?
When was that?
When I found out he shot the dog.
Oh, I got to tell you, I found out about that, too, last night. I didn't see it until last night.
I didn't know. That's horrible.
You see? Now, finally, I'm really pissed.
That's right. Well, but that's the thing, because we don't deserve dogs, Neil.
Well, it's not a coincidence that dog spelled backwards is God.
Amen to that. And that tells me that he's a University of Georgia fan, too.
And not only did he shoot a dog, but it was a golden retriever.
I know, sweetest. Those dogs are so sweet and so dang smart.
I had 14 golden retrievers at one time.
At once?
How'd you do that? Why'd you do that?
Well, they did it to each other.
I see.
They multiplied.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, now the controversy in Florida right now is really not a controversy because we like our governor.
Yes, sir.
Okay? But it has to do with these protesters and the ones that block roads. There is a video over there, or out there, of somebody in the car running over a fat chick. Have you seen that one?
I have, yes. I've seen it. I don't think I realized that was in Florida. It was kind of
No, that wasn't in Florida.
Oh, that wasn't in Florida.
But it's still a great video, and I'm surprised the car didn't flip.
Yeah, right. Well, it only takes one or two people to stand in front of cars and get run over before people stop standing in front of cars.
Two words. Reginald Denny.
I remember that name. Why do I remember that name?
He was the truck driver that was stopped by the protesters in Los Angeles, and they hit him in the face while he was on the ground on his back with a cinder block.
Yes, I do remember
Awful.
that.
Yeah, and so anyway, that's just so upsetting. By the way, I love women with glasses. I really.
Oh, Neil Bortz is watching on the YouTube channel. I know what Neil's doing. You're peeping in.
Thank you. Now we know you can see the live stream. I'm waving.
But I agree with you, Neil. There's just something. Glasses are so elegant looking.
Well, ever since I had my eye surgery and my glasses were replaced with lenses, now my vision may be 2015, and it is, but I don't get any attention out there at all now.
No way.
It also could be the fact that I'm an old fart.
Well, maybe some of that. Maybe it's a combination of the two a little bit.
You can get personality glasses. Have you ever heard of those?
There you go, Neil.
No, I haven't heard the term.
There was someone on my freshman dorm floor in college who introduced me to the concept of personality glasses. He had 20/20 vision, but he also had some frames with clear lenses. The lenses don't do anything, and it was just he was going out, he wanted to look good, and he would say, these are my personality glasses.
I promise you, by the next time you hear me on this show, I'm going to have some personality glasses.
Amazing.
You've changed Neil's future. I mean, you've changed his direction in life. He's going to get all the attention that he used to get all over again. And it's funny, my son did something similar to that. He had the blue blockers.
Sure.
But when you're looking at the screen too much, they say the blue light is bad for you. And Neil, he would wear these blue blockers because he thought it made him look smart.
I don't know what could possibly make me look smart, but
wow, come on, this is a
you
man.
Don't need glasses.
This is a well-educated man in Neil Bortz.
Yeah.
Okay, you were talking about these protesters, acting crazy and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? Do you think that they really have well thought out opinions on immigration law or what have you? Do you know what they're really protesting? They're running around with their, and boy, did I make some people mad yesterday with my commentary when I revealed that Party for Socialism and Liberation is actually the American Communist Party.
Right, yeah, it's just a different name for the same animal.
Well, yeah, I mean, they figured out that Communist Party doesn't look good on protest signs. So they now call themselves the Party for Socialism and Liberation. But you know what really just drives these people nuts about America? And it's not immigration law or anything. It's that America is a meritocracy.
That's right. They hate that.
They hate that. Democrats hate that. Liberals hate that. How dare a person's happiness, prosperity, or whatever depend on merit? That makes them absolutely crazy. So when you talk about these protesters and the way they're acting out there, remember I firmly believe this. What they're really protesting is that America is a meritocracy. Now, speaking of protesting, the controversy in Florida right now is over a law that's now 4 years old. It's HB 1, the anti-riot law. But now DeSantis, he said, our policy in Florida is that if you're driving on one of those streets and the street is blocked and the mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your own safety.
Amen. And I fully support it.
And if you drive off and you hit one of those people, that is their fault, not yours. And I'm not saying, because I live in Naples, that's not going to happen in Naples. First of all, they can't move fast enough.
That's right.
But, and it would really be bad to run over somebody with a walker.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's not a good look.
That would be terrible. Even if you're justified in that one, you're going to lose the battle of the optics.
But that's why I watched over and over and over this video of this fat chick standing in front of a car, and it was being driven by a woman, and finally she says, that's enough of this, and and the fat chick couldn't get out of the way fast enough, so it got her in the legs. I mean, it was a double thumper, front wheel, back wheel.
And you can hear it, too. If you watch the video, you can hear it. It's like thump, 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 thump. Oh, no. It's like driving over a speed bump. You can hear it. Yeah.
Well, that used to be the way you could successfully tell you've taken care of a cat.
Oh, Neil Boards, come on now. Let's not hit the cats. I'm not a cat guy, but I don't want to kill them.
Yeah, I'm not a cat person, but I'm not an anti-cat person.
Well, no, I'm not anti-cat, but they don't measure up to dogs.
Well, no, nobody's making that. Well, I mean, I guess there's some people that might. Very few people making that comparison.
A former, I think I'll get this wrong, Israeli ambassador to the U.S. or U.S. ambassador, they're saying, about the exploding beepers and walkies. He's saying, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, let me tell you, they planned that for a few years, and they said they've been planning this very attack in Iran for several years, and they have a 14-day strategy already. That's just what they're telling you. That's what they're saying out loud.
This guy said, wait till Thursday night.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Now I'm going to have to stay up Thursday night.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Friday's show is going to be real interesting.
Off the charts.
But, and I really liked seeing that Muzzy newscaster have to bail out when she was delivering the news on state.
The propaganda one.
Yeah, the propaganda lady. And, I love women. I feel so bad for the women of Iran. They are, as a class, horribly abused.
Without a doubt.
They really are. And someday, I hope that they'll be liberated.
But don't you think that's what Donald Trump is doing by saying get out of Tehran? He sees the Ayatollah at its weakest. He's trying to create a bit of chaos by just saying that, because you got, I want to say 17 million people there. Please don't quote me on that number, but I think that number's right. And with the people trying to evacuate, that creates chaos and then automatically puts the Ayatollah and that part of what's left of that government really at odds with the people that live there.
Well, I just hope that we don't all of a sudden say, okay, we're through. No, keep going after Iran. Destroy that POS government, that so-called government they have.
Let me ask you then, Neil, because
then I got one for you.
Yes, sir. The only thing I'm a little bit nervous about, and I'm 60-40 on this. I want the United States to stay out of it, but completely support Israel in every way that we possibly can. What do you think about Donald Trump? Should he deliver the bunker busters, or either give them to Israel, or have us destroy the Fordow? Am I saying that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, the nuclear site that is in the mountain. Or do we stay out of it altogether and just let Israel handle this? Because I lean stay out of it.
Ask you that.
Well, because
that was the question I had for you. By the way, are those tangerines?
They're cuties. Cuties there.
Cuties?
Yeah, well, at least that's what they're called. When the brand, I think they're what are they called though?
I always call them cuties too.
Yeah.
Are they nectarines?
Maybe. Hang on, I'll look it up.
I don't trust
oranges.
Radio personalities that don't have a cup of coffee sitting.
I've never had a cup of coffee in my life.
Oh, you're sick.
I'm not telling you, man. I've never.
I own 3 Keurigs. I'm never more than 10 feet away from a Keurig.
Okay. 3 Keurigs. So what is your go-to?
Mandarin oranges, clementines is what they are.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, anyway, so what was you asking?
No, my question is that we do have, apparently I think we do, a bunker buster that could take out the Iran nuclear site.
That's right.
Should it be used, and if so, who does it, us or them?
I'm so torn on this one. I really am.
but I think we stay out of it. I really do. I think the Iranians or let the Israelis do whatever they want to do. You support them in every way possible. But Donald Trump is he's a guy that really wants peace. He wants to stay out of forever wars. He's always talked about that. Now, I'm not saying that he couldn't say, and I would support him if he changed his mind and said, this is what we're going to do. But I think he wants to stay out of it, and I would like to. I'm like 60-40 on this, so it's close, but I want to stay out of it, Neil.
Okay,
where do you stand?
If we don't deliver one, should he provide them to Israel and say it's your choice?
See, now that is one that, wow. Because that would be us, giving them, which we already supply them with weapons, but not those. That would certainly open up, I think, our U.S. service members in the region to attacks, and then that drags us even further into it. So I'm reluctant to do that, too. I'm not saying it's off the table at all, but I'm, again, like 60-40, let's just stay out.
One more.
Yes.
If your intelligence, the best intelligence you have, told you that either that facility is destroyed or Iran is going to lob a nuclear bomb on Tel Aviv,
then I think if the intel is there, then I think you may have to do something.
Okay, two more things.
Yes, sir.
First of all, Snow White is now officially designated a flop.
Yes, yeah. Well, nobody expected that one to be good.
Yeah. And have you ever paid any attention to conspiracy theorists?
Yes, I work with one, front office Lowe's, every morning, yes.
Well, I know he believes in chemtrails.
Yes, and all that,
okay.
Yes. I don't.
Do you know that these people, I'm making a list here now, Biden is dead and was replaced by a doppelganger.
Wait, they weekend at Bernie's, Tim?
Yeah, look, that story's out there. I've seen that. Neil's not the first person to bring that up.
No way.
No, and same thing with Hillary Clinton. 9/11 was an inside job. Then we have chemtrails. The Earth is flat. Vaccines, all that kind of stuff. This is weirdness. Just weirdness.
What's the one conspiracy theory that you think is possible, plausible? Not that you believe it necessarily, but the one you think could be true if there was one.
I've got a very low stakes one.
Okay,
that I do believe is true.
Maybe the vaccines or what have I don't. You know, the one yesterday, Band-Aids now. Band-Aids deliver chemicals to cause cancer.
Oh, my heavens.
I know.
Yeah, I don't believe that. All right, Angela's got one that she thinks is plausible. What
My
is it?
low-stakes conspiracy theory is that when you hear a celebrity named their kid like Frisbee or like Wingdings or something really weird, they name that baby like Dave or something.
Oh, and then they just use that to get all the attention.
They use a crazy name to get attention. It gets them in the headlines.
Yeah.
And it means the kid can live relatively anonymously because no one's looking for Dave. They're looking for
Frisbee.
they're looking for Frisbee.
Look, you're not far off there.
Name them free. Nobody's working for free.
Yes, exactly right. Neil Bort's the Talkmaster.
Okay, I'm going to do whatever I do.
All right. Well, hopefully it is play some golf and relax.
Golf is tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, good enough. Neil, have a great day. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Y'all be good. Bye.
Yes,
Angela.
sir.
Bye, Neil.
See, there you go. Just good friends all around. Neil Port's the only place you get him is on Extra 106.3. When we continue, the Terminator better be careful what he says on The View because he'll get uninvited. He'll never be invited back, especially when you hear what he said yesterday. And you saw Whoopi's jaw just hit the table. Next on the Morning Extra. Tug and Los until 10.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Braves beat the Mets 5-4 in extra innings last night. Ronald Acuna Jr. got on base 5 times and made a spectacular catch at the wall in the 9th inning. Austin Riley drove home the walk-off run on a pop fly. Chris Sale takes the mound tonight in the second game of the series. He'll face off against Paul Blackburn. First pitch is set for 7:15. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680 The Fan. And the Florida Panthers are your back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They defeated the Edmonton Oilers 5-1, taking the series in 6 games. The Panthers are the first team to win back-to-back Stanley Cups since the Tampa Bay Lightning. In the NBA Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder is leading the series against the Pacers 3-2. Tyrese Halliburton was injured Monday night with a right calf sprain. He returned to the game, but his status for Game 6 in Indiana on Thursday night is in question. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
So we always want to do good. You always want to lend a hand, whether it's making a donation at church or, throwing money in the offering plate, or maybe you've set up an offering that just happens every month. We always want to help. We always want to give back. I think that's our nature as Americans, and you've seen that through the history of the country, and certainly when you boil that down to local communities, it stands out because there's so many people that are so willing to give of their time and their money. Chuck, the owner of Central Heating and Air Conditioning, same way. He's doing the 5th annual Christmas in July, benefiting Skyland Trail, a nonprofit leading the way in mental health wellness here in Atlanta, and they provide expert and evidence-based treatment to help people facing mental health challenges find a path to recovery. So that's the outlet that they've chosen, Chuck and the folks at Central Heating and Air Conditioning, to give back. Now, here's your chance to. But it benefits you too, so this is a little win-win for you. You sign up for a maintenance agreement for your home or your business or whatever. $10 of that new maintenance agreement goes directly to Skyland Trail, providing life-changing care for those who need it most. And then you get the maintenance done on your HVAC systems so they last as long as they possibly can. Those things are expensive to get replaced when they are at the end of their life. So you know that. But it's no different than your car. I mean, you get the oil change, you get the tune-up. This is the same way. The same thing you're doing for your HVAC, and you're helping. You're giving back. Skyland Trail. Here's how you sign up if you want to do it. 770-GET-HEAT or go to centralheat.com. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com. Carrier. They are the preferred manufacturer there at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Carrier product, carrier warranty, and carrier peace of mind.
My name is Patrick, and I'm the Military Outreach Manager at the Warrior Alliance. I served in the U.S. Army as an airborne ranger and deployed to several combat zones in support of the global war on terror. Veterans bring excellence through our work ethic, skills, and civic duty. However, transitioning to civilian life can be difficult, as we all share a loss of purpose when leaving the military. Returning veterans have earned and deserve our support so they can thrive on their journey home. The Warrior Alliance understands the challenge and is helping warriors navigate to success after service. Join us in changing thousands of lives for the better. Donate today at thewarrioralliance.org.
Life is unpredictable, but when trouble comes, you need a team you can trust. At Ace Second Chance Bail Bonds, we've been helping families for nearly 20 years, providing fast, professional, and discreet service. With 12 locations across Metro Atlanta and Birmingham, we're available 24/7 to get your loved one home, quick and with care. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call 404-BAIL-OUT, that's 404-BAIL-OUT, or visit atlbail.com today.
Join the free smoothie party at Tropical Smoothie Cafe on Saturday, June 21st for National Smoothie Day. Tropic Rewards members get a free smoothie with bowl or food purchase. Terms and conditions apply.
Surveys reveal that peace of mind is a paramount concern for people approaching retirement. So, Coach Pete, what helps bring that peace of mind?
That sound means financial fill-up. That means every single year in retirement, you get a new check delivered to your checking account. And if you pass away, your spouse continues to get that check. That's where the value starts really hitting, because a lot of people pass away and they leave their spouse with nothing but bills. And then the spouse has to change zip codes in a bad way, like move out of this neighborhood, move over there to that apartment. So the secret of life is get on that green brick road and make sure that you have that financial fill-up strategy, which will deliver a check to you regardless of what happens in the stock market. This is not stock market money. This is safe money. Now, we like the stock market, but we like the stock market only after we have our safe money and our retirement income number planned out.
A comprehensive review, no cost, no obligation, with Coach Pete's local trusted advisor, Craig Chandler of Chandler Wealth Management. 800-419-6164. 800-419-6164. 800-419-6164.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
They can't define the word Nazi because of the history behind it and how insulting it is to the families of 6 million people that were killed by the Nazis and obliterated.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. We've had an explosion in the studio. Holy cow.
I'm causing problems just all day today.
She's not causing problems at all. But she's got one of these Freebird waters, and she chose the sparkling water.
Oh, boy.
Because she's got like a little flavoring, right? And she pours the flavoring in there, and it just erupts. It's like a science project over there.
I did the volcano.
That's right.
Had a reaction.
Yes. Now I'm questioning what is in my flavor powder because I don't think anything you put in your body should do that when it touches water. Right. And like I go through Freebirds every day. I love these. And I was like, I'll kick it up this morning. Yeah. Well, it kicked back.
Yeah, he certainly did.
Freebird is great stuff. Dude, I don't know what's in that flavoring you got.
Well, yeah, I don't eat. What was it, lemon lime you got?
It was lemon lime, and I think I might just be doing pure Freebird from now on because they're so good. And
they are.
I tried to mess with perfection, and it exploded.
Well, it's funny because Freebird is a relatively new company. They're based in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and they're trying to go up against Liquid Death. If you go to concerts, have you ever seen the Liquid Death canned water? Like it's in a direct competition of that. And as we all three drink Freebird this morning, it's
Mama always said, drink more water.
That's right, exactly. That's what it says, right? Mama always says, clean up after yourself. Mama says a lot of things. So anytime you put Mama in the equation, you've automatically got me already.
Not to derail us too much, but it's funny that this little explosion happened in the studio this morning. But yesterday, another big company, I think it was Kraft, said they're getting rid of the artificial dyes.
Yeah, Kraft Heinz. Yeah, that's
another
right.
win for Maha.
Yeah, that's right. A bunch of the cereals, they're taking the dyes out of the cereals, and then Kraft Heinz said they're taking all the the junk out. I guess whatever junk that is, what are the dyes or whatever that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been so on. Like, I know there's junk in there. I just don't know what the junk is.
It is same.
And then that's the thing. Like, and when you look at the labeling, I'm not sure I could pronounce the junk anyway, so it would do me no good. But there's crap in your food that you shouldn't eat. The whole point of Maha is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is like, we're getting this crap out of our food so it doesn't kill us. And it seems like a step in the right direction. I love it.
I think so, too. I was using a different water flavoring yesterday. You can tell that I like to stay hydrated, but right. I make it fun. I make it a little bit fluorescent. And I was looking up one of the chemical dyes in this flavoring, and it was like a never-ending horror show. These reports were like, we fed it to a mouse, and that mouse joined a gang.
Oh, right.
Like, it was a horror show, and I'm like, I've just been drinking this and like not really thinking about it. So I'm very excited about this trend toward getting things out of our food so we don't have to read every label.
Yeah. Did you switch now? Is that a different one now, or do you still have
a different one? Oh, I still have an absolute arsenal of fake sweet tea flavor at home, and I'm completely addicted to it, which is probably because of the chemicals.
There you go. Would imagine you're exactly right. Yesterday on The View, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, the Governator, and he said some crap over the years that I'm like, oh my God. Arnold Schwarzenegger, what are you talking about? I mean, nothing comes to mind right off, but I just remember having those feelings, those reactions to things he said in the past. Yesterday wasn't one of those days. Yesterday, he said something that I thought was so insightful. Yesterday, he said something because of his experience as an immigrant in the United States that he thinks other immigrants should follow. Listen to what he said.
But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. Mm-hmm. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can. Keep things clean. And to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is.
And did you hear them trying to jump in?
He was making too much sense. They had to stop him.
That's exactly right. It's so surprising to see people that have a negative reaction to that statement, because he's exactly right. This is the land of opportunity. What do you do when you've been blessed? Like, you want to bless others. I mean, that comes from faith for me. But let's say you're not a faithful person, which I hope you find yourself a church. If you're not, find you one. But there is reason to give back. This is a wonderful place that's not supposed to exist. The American experiment is like nothing we've ever seen in the history of this world. It's always a monarchy or a dictatorship or whatever. This is a government based on what the people's desire is. This isn't supposed to happen. It's such a surprise that it even worked.
I mean, even the story of the first Thanksgiving that a Native American walks up and starts speaking English.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds, right? I think that's, too... I think it's not a coincidence,
No, that's right.
I think someone upstairs is pulling the strings.
Without a doubt. So to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger say that, and like I said, I've heard him say plenty of things. I just roll my eyes, but like, dude, what are you talking about? He's not wrong about this one. And I'm not above, because I don't always agree with him, I'm not above someone that I don't agree with going, you know what, they got it right here. And he did.
Yeah, and he's lived that experience. Exactly he is a legal immigrant who became a naturalized citizen. He knows the immigration system, I guarantee you, better than anyone else on The View. He also, because he had to go through that process of becoming a naturalized citizen, probably knows this country better than a lot of people who were born here and educated here.
Amen.
Like, I see the civics numbers. I think it's under 1 in 4 8th graders are proficient in civics. And that's proficient. That's not advanced. That's not like you're a superstar.
That almost seems by design.
I think it might be.
which is very sad to me. But I think that our education system's been so corrupted by politics and money and power and all that. So in those teachers' unions, like that, and I didn't know that. So you presenting that, like, as soon as you said it, I was like, well, that seems on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That seems, but to the point is that most kids don't know civics. They don't know the greatness of this country. They don't know what this country has meant, around the world.
Yeah, and when you don't know it, you don't appreciate it. You can't possibly appreciate it.
That's right.
I think he brought a really valuable perspective yesterday.
Amen. Me too. This is the Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. Download the app so you can listen live and on demand. Easiest way to listen to Extra. You can listen to shows as they happen, live as we're speaking right now, or at 6:55 this evening if you'd like. So whatever you want to do. But it's there for you, free for Apple and Android. Download it today and use it that way. It's time. My gut is Trump is fostering an environment for regime change without firing a single shot. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Sports is only live on Extra 106.3, bringing you daily commentary on the biggest topics of the day. Catch him throughout the day or hear his latest on the Extra 106.3 app.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
Hey, it's Front Office Lowe's here to tell you about a new company that is changing the way people buy their next pre-owned car or truck. At The Honest Car Guy, they offer a completely transparent way to purchase a vehicle. You pay what he pays, plus a small, honest fee. You can choose any make or model. He will search the country for the best deal out there. He'll handle the paperwork, your trade-in, shipping, and even give you the bill of sale. Friends, I've done the research, and this is a buying process that you can trust. Call 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit online online at honestcarguy.com.
You upgrade your phone, you upgrade your wardrobe, even your lawn. So why not upgrade the part of your home that actually protects your family? Southern Exteriors specializes in roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and they're making it easier than ever before with 10% off any job or 12 months of 0% financing. Hey, it's Tug, and I know the folks at Southern Exteriors. They show up, they do it right, and they stand behind their work. Call them today, 877-9-SOUTHERN, or visit southernexteriors.co.
Fox on Tech.
Facebook parent company Meta has inked a deal with the nation's largest nuclear reactor operator, Constellation Energy, to keep a large Illinois nuclear plant that was slated to shut down in 2027 running for years to come. Through a 20-year power purchase agreement, Meta will be able to use the energy that's coming out of Constellation's nuclear plant situated between Chicago and St. Louis. Applying for relicensing can cost a company millions of dollars, and now Meta will help pay for that process when the time comes. Here's Constellation CEO Joe Dominguez on the benefits of nuclear power.
Nuclear is a 24/7 resource. These data centers run 24/7. Some of them will cost $200-300 billion, and they want to run them all of the time. So we can't use intermittent resources. We need something that's always on 24/7, and nothing does that better than nuclear.
With Fox on Tech, Callie Saberi, Fox Business.
This is House Call for Health. A daily dose of fruits and vegetables could help you get a good night's rest. Researchers from Columbia University and the University of Chicago found eating more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains is beneficial for better sleep. They collected data from healthy young adults who logged what they ate daily using a smartphone app and wore wrist monitors to track their sleep habits. The study measured sleep fragmentation, or how often someone wakes up or shifts into lighter sleep. Results show those who ate more produce and healthy carbohydrates had better quality sleep at night. Researchers say eating 5 cups of fruits and vegetables a day could improve sleep quality by 16% compared to eating none. The study is one of the first to show how diets can impact sleep. It was published in the journal Sleep Health. You can find more on the study at uchicagomedicine.org, or for more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The Democrats want the federal government to stop arresting illegal criminals. Criminals who are here illegally.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
Iran's supreme leader speaks out. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, saying Israel made a huge mistake and will be punished for it as the attacks continue.
The Israeli warplanes were active last night. The IDF says 50 fighter jets hit the skies and hit some 20 targets in Iran overnight. We just heard from the IDF. Some of the targets included sites that produce raw materials and components for missiles and missile launchers.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv, which Iran targeted again with more missiles.
There were 2 separate attacks that came just after midnight, some 30 separate launches from Iran. The missile defense systems did their sights. There were multiple interceptions in the skies over Tel Aviv last night. Some of the missiles did reach the ground. There was one parking lot that was set on fire.
But no reports yet of casualties. Will the U.S. get involved to help take out Iran's nuclear program, feared to be building weapons? Iran warns that would lead to all-out war in the region.
President Trump says he's not interested in a ceasefire. He wants Iran's unconditional surrender. Trump met with his national security team at the Situation Room in the White House yesterday. Options were presented. It's not clear if any final decisions were made.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. More death in Gaza. Palestinian officials claim an Israeli attack killed at least 51 people as people were gathered waiting for new food shipments, more than 200 injured. TikTok isn't going away anytime soon. President Trump plans another 90-day extension this week to a deadline set by law for TikTok to cut ties to its Chinese parent company over concerns China manipulates TikTok content and can do surveillance on millions of Americans' TikTok users. Now to Miami. They celebrated last night another championship on ice.
The Panthers go back-to-back. The Stanley Cup will remain here in South Florida.
The call on TNT after the Panthers won the Cup again, beating the Edmonton Oilers again. Florida topped Edmonton 5-1 in Game 6 of the final. America's listening to Fox News.
Quiet down. Here she comes.
Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Does your friend listen to an old station whose news gives them the blues? Set your friend right. Tell him to download the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. 404-741-1230. At Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. You can find me at Tug Cowarts. Angela Morabito is in for Front Office Los. You can find her at Angela L. Morabito on Twitter, now called X, and for Jerry at Whiskey Click if you're looking for Jerry here on Extra 106.3. When I see that Israel has complete air superiority over the skies of Iran, it is so encouraging to me because I feel like it's the ultimate David versus Goliath story.
Yes.
It is, and my wife and I just finished that series on Amazon, and it's King David. Good? So good, so good.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
We love those things. And there's that new, The Chosen. Have you seen that? Have you seen those?
I have not, but I have had so many people tell me you got to see The Chosen.
It is so good.
This is a cultural shift.
It is. I've been saying this for months and months, if not years. We are absolutely shifting in culture back to traditional values. The attendance of Gen Z in church is quadrupled. There is definitely something that's happening in America, and I love it, and I'm so encouraged by it. And I feel like people that don't, have very different values than I do, and they're rebelling against that. And I'm okay with it. Rebel all you want, because I think the majority of Americans, and the polling would suggest it, and I don't trust polling always, or even rarely, but when all these leftist polling companies still show me the same results that someone like that I would trust, the polling numbers are the same, I'm encouraged by it. But that's the thing. You're right. I think this cultural shift is so welcomed. I think people are looking for something that's real, something that's tangible. The truth matters. I say that all the time on the show. I think people are looking for more than the facade that we've had for the last maybe 20 years. Or maybe longer, maybe forever. I don't know. I just know what I'm seeing now, and I'm encouraged by it.
It's wonderful to see. I mean, years ago in D.C., I would go to church, and it would be mostly empty. Yeah. Now, you can barely get a seat.
That's great.
It's a packed house.
No, that's great.
And it's so exciting, and to know that it's happening everywhere is cool. To know it's happening mainly driven by young men.
Yes, that's right.
Is astounding. I saw something the other day that for the first time in modern American history, young men are more religious than young women.
Wow. That's an interesting cultural shift, and that it's not really surprising, because if you look at college graduates, I think, and you would know this better than anybody, having worked in the Department of Education and have such a wealth of knowledge there, that young men are becoming more conservative, more traditional. Young women are going the exact opposite direction, becoming more liberal, and whatever goes along with that.
There is this huge divide when you hear Joe Rogan's going to church now, and
I was so encouraged by that.
It's amazing news. And then when you look at women's media, especially media aimed at young women, if you pick up Teen Vogue, it's like shoes to wear while you overthrow the government. Like, it is the most radical.
Yeah.
And they're losing people by the day.
And they're talking about body counts and just all this, this promiscuity
It's awful.
And I know it's been there for, 20 years because I remember it when I was in high school seeing some of that weird stuff. It wasn't quite as blunt as the example you gave, but even then I was just like, well, that's weird.
Yeah,
it's an odd thing to talk about.
Now I think if parents knew what was in it, they would never put it in their kids' hands.
Yeah, and maybe try to prevent it. But so I agree with you. I think there is this cultural shift that's happening, and I'm so encouraged by it. But back to the Chosen just for a moment. I saw where now the stuff that was in the theater after the Chosen came to an end, and it was the moment where Christ is riding the donkey into Jerusalem.
Wow.
So that's where it stops.
Ooh, okay.
And that was the cliffhanger.
Like,
and then,
they quit before the best part.
Right, exactly. Yet it's because they were working on it. They were filming, right? And then it came out in the theaters, and my wife and I haven't been able to see it in the theater. But I saw last night that it is now streaming on Amazon. So now we've got something new to watch. And we watched, like I said, we watched the David story, which was incredible, so good. I find that we're so dialed into. I call it boring. I call our family Andy Griffith a little bit because we eat dinner together at about 5:30 at night. We do all these really traditional things, and always have. And so, and my son, when he's about to turn 21, he's supposed to be this wild, rambunctious kid, and he is. He's not perfect by any means or stretch of the imagination. I never want to paint that picture, but he is the one that got us watching The Chosen. He and his baseball team were watching it as a group. There's half the baseball team would all gather and they would watch it, once a week or a couple times a week.
That's so cool.
When he was at College of Charleston, and that's continued now. And he's the one that told us that you should be watching this. And I was so encouraged by it. He was like, Dad, the thing that I see is that it really does paint this great picture of all these stories that I've heard my whole life since I was a child, coming up through church and Sunday school and all those things. He said it just brings it to life. It personifies these people. It makes it real for me to be able to see this. And I was so encouraged by it. So that's when we watched it, my wife and I.
I'm going to have to check this out. This sounds amazing.
No, it is. It's really, really good. So, and if there's others out there that you suggest that everybody watch, we'll share it with everybody either on social media or on the show at 404-741-1230. But anyway, that cultural shift I think that's happening, and I like, and you're starting to see it manifest itself everywhere, and the United States getting back to what it may have looked like 40 years ago, at least with people's with their intentions and what they hope for and the things that they see value in.
Because if you look for meaning anywhere else, you're not gonna find
it's very shallow.
It's not going to work out for you. So I think it's good news for the country as a whole that people are returning to the things that matter.
Yeah, absolutely right. When it comes to Israel and Iran, I tried to be very clear. I don't want the United States involved in this. I do trust Donald Trump's gut instinct.
I do too.
If he were to say, and I'm not trying to be contradictory at all, I don't want us involved. But if he were to say, here's the reason, and he goes in front of the American people and says, this is what I'm going to do, I would back him. I would believe him. I would trust him. And because I think his gut is really, really strong. I think he's got really good gut instincts. And that means he's got some sort of intel. And there's no, like when you look at intelligence, I worked in intel just the slightest bit in the Navy. I had like a secret security clearance. And then when you go out to sea, it becomes top secret because of just the way information moves. And so you see there, and there's no like one piece of intel that tells you, this is the answer. This is the way. It's like a big puzzle, right? You're taking pieces of information that you've gathered from people on the ground, intel officers that have gained this information through another spy, someone that they've recruited to feed us information, just like the Israelis did with whoever that was very high in the Iranian government. That's how they were able to pull off all these operations that are so spectacular. So there's not one just piece of information that says, yes, here's the reason you do this. You put all the information together and you take your best judgment. You make your best estimation. And I do believe Donald Trump's gut is peace first. He's still talking about peace. to this moment, he's still talking about peace. Now, he's also saying if you don't come to the table, if you don't surrender, if you don't give up this, this nuclear bomb, this desire to have this nuclear bomb, we're going to fix this problem. We're going to fix, whether it's backing the Israelis the way we have, or giving them the bomb that they need, the bunker buster, or we use it ourselves. I don't ever believe there will be boots on the ground in Iran. I don't believe Donald Trump will allow that to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that is what he wants or what the American public wants. But a free Iran is good for everyone,
Absolutely
including the Iranians, especially the Iranians.
Yeah, no, that's right.
They're showing a tweet on the screen from the Ayatollah saying the battle has just begun. I'm like, honey, no. It's so over.
The battle was over before it started, sir.
Yes, and not a single one of his planes left the ground.
That's right. And they have air superiority. They can do whatever they want over the skies of Iran's array.
And yesterday he was tweeting about, there's a big surprise coming, a generational surprise that nobody... And there was a big volley that went into Israel last night, but almost all of it was intercepted. And so if that's a surprise, sorry, bud, we spoiled it.
I wonder, because he's 87, I wonder if...
Is he 87?
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
You verify that if you look it up.
Check that up.
Yeah. I do believe that probably, much like Joe Biden, there's people around him telling him that it's going well. We're all good. Everything's great. They think we a little shaky at first. We're good. We're gaining ground back. There's no way that he sends out tweets like that knowing in the dire straits that they're in.
86, so pretty 86. Much right on the money.
Yeah.
And do you want to be the person who tells the Ayatollah bad news?
Yeah, right.
Hey, man.
But at this point, what's he going to do?
Nothing.
They're head of the military. That person was knocked off, I think, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. On Friday. So they took him out. Mossad took him out. And they took the next guy in line, the second commander, right? Put him in charge of the Iranian military. And yesterday, 4 days later, he was killed. So they're just going through people. As I told you yesterday, Mossad is on the ground and they're going door to door. They're able to operate because Mossad is kind of like our CIA, but a little spec ops in there too. I mean, they're an incredible organization and they work incredibly efficiently. So these guys are taking out people at will. And then you still have the Ayatollah who that's what leads me to believe this. This guy's sending out tweets, it's coming tomorrow. It's coming tomorrow. What exactly is coming tomorrow? Nothing's happening. So at some point, we got to figure out what are we doing with the nuclear power program? Are we going to assist in some way? Again, I told you, I don't want us being involved. But if Donald Trump says this is something that we need to do, and I feel like the intel backs it up, even though it's against my better judgment, I would support him. I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but I think that's where I would imagine most Americans would be. Don't want us involved, but if there's intel that says this is what we need to do, the commander-in-chief, and the American people trust Donald Trump. The polling shows it. Everything shows it. I think the American people would be behind him as well. 404-741-1230 if you disagree with that assessment, because that's where I stand. I don't want us to, but if Trump says that's what we have to do, I would back him.
Yeah, I mean, we're also less than halfway through Israel's 14-day plan.
That's right. Yeah, we got plenty of time.
So the clock is still running on this, and I have to believe that on days 12, 13, 14, maybe Israel has a plan for how to end this. What I don't think anyone has a plan for is what happens.
Next?
Yes.
What's next?
If the Ayatollah's gone, who's it going to be?
Yeah.
Do they pick a new one? Do they start from scratch? And to your point yesterday, we're not good at nation building.
No, we're horrible at that. And that's why I want us not to have any involvement in that part of it. Let the Iranians do it. And truly, because I don't think Donald Trump's made a decision. I don't think the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth, I don't think they've made a decision on what they're doing. I think they have a lot of plans drawn up. I think there's probably a lot of different options on the table for the United States to follow. I think Donald Trump's gut instinct is peace, as I started with. And I think his goal, what he's trying to foster, the environment that he's trying to foster, is for the Iranian people to feel empowered to overthrow that government, that restrictive government that is the Ayatollah, that is the situation that they have now. And I think that's what we'd like to see. I think that's what Trump would like to see. Certainly what I would like to see. I would love to see these brave Iranians take their future into their own hands. And as I showed you yesterday, or we played it, the woman that was taking off her hijab, and she let her hair down, and she was singing, and you're seeing this all over. And you're seeing it more and more inside of Iran, these brave people. Now, it's going to take brave men behind them in a very dangerous and arduous job to topple this restrictive dictatorship, because that's what it is. And then what does come next? To your point, I can't answer that question, but I think that's a question only the Iranians can answer.
I completely agree. And we're seeing them, they're ready. They don't support the oppressive dictatorship that they've been forced to live under since really 1979.
Yeah.
A free Iran is good for everyone, and we're seeing people start to make that push. I saw an image of folks in Iran who were sitting on the roof of their building watching the rockets come in, and they were watching this like a tailgate.
Yeah.
They were like, this is awesome. Israel is doing a service to the world.
Amen, they are.
And in Trump's first inauguration speech, he had a line that has stuck with me ever since. He says, America first does not mean America alone.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, I wish he would repeat that till the end of time. Because an America first policy doesn't mean we're the world's hall
Police,
monitor.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we can't be that. We shouldn't be that. It's not right. But Israel is doing what it should, which is defend itself from an existential threat.
And has every right to do.
Of course. I'm glad they're doing it. They should be doing it. I'm glad they have the firepower and the intelligence to make it happen.
Backed up by the United States, because I think we should be supporting our greatest ally in the Middle East. And I know there's people that feel differently about that, and I'm okay with you feeling. That's the thing I think that's good about where we are in our conservative politic or our Republican politic, that our tent is big enough that we can have disagreements inside about what we're going to do, because disagreement is good. Disagreement and discussion and debate gets you to the best answer. I don't know that I have the best answer. I always, like, my gut tells me what to think, what to believe, and I trust my gut on a lot of things. But that doesn't mean I've thought about every possible outcome or every possible plan. And somebody else may say, hey, man, I'm with you. I understand what you're saying, but have you thought about this, that, or the other thing? And then it gives you a whole different perspective. They don't have that on the left. As we've discussed a million times, there's no room for differences of ideas. They don't tolerate it. And in the Republican Party now, there is, and I think that's a good thing.
It's absolutely the best thing, not just for the Republican Party, but for America, for the country.
For sure.
I follow something on X called the Pentagon Pizza Tracker. Have you all heard of this?
Yes, it's amazing.
And you can tell when folks at the Pentagon are working late. If you own a Domino's in Northern Virginia,
you make it bank.
You're printing money.
Yeah, that's right.
And I trust that the people in charge are no longer part of this deep state organization, that they are people who are going to put America first.
I would like to think that. I'm not sure I'm convinced that is as good as it could be. I still think there's those deep staters that are in there. It's hard to weed them all out.
That's true.
They've had 40 or 50 years to entrench themselves. I believe that some of those people are still there. I believe the folks that Donald Trump has put in office are trying to weed them out, trying to get them out of there. And I think at least the highest levels, in the cabinet levels, and maybe even the next level below that those are people we can trust. But there's even people in the CIA that I feel like are dirty, and anti-Trump and anti-America in many of their ways of thinking that we do have to worry about. That's my personal feeling about it. And I feel like there's evidence to back it up. We don't have time to get to it here, but you just see the way people behave and some of the things that they do. You always think, CIA, they're ours. They're on our side. They're going to be following the orders of the president. But there's so many people that have been vocal on social media that are CIA officers, former CIA officers, that say, we hate Trump. We're not going to do this. We think he's a dictator. So that becomes worrisome there at the foundational level. Yeah, because I think it exists all throughout our government. And a lot of it probably sponsored by the Chinese, people that have been paid off by the Chinese. We think about Tim Walz, because I think he is compromised by the Chinese. Think about all the people throughout the nation and in the government that could be falling into that.
And it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. So anyway, I'm not trying to be discouraging at all, because I think Donald Trump is in control, and they're probably watching this, because I figure they probably know at least who most of them are, keeping them under their thumb as best they can. 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. 404-741-1230 is the number. At Extra 1063 across the social media platform. When we come back, America is the worst, says one member of Congress. Bet you can't guess which party they're a member of.
America drives the world economy. And with ongoing global trade deals, tariffs doing their job, and inflation dropping, we've forced the world to step up. So don't let the mainstream media spin it to you any differently. Get the news that matters to you from Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Hey, this is Tom from The Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee. Guaranteed. Honesty is the best policy, and we guarantee it. Finally, a pre-owned car and truck buying process that you can trust.
Get an honest car buy from The Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Hey, Atlantis, Mark from the Safe House. I have a question for you. Am I the only person pissed off with the mainstream fake news, liberal judges,
and whiny liberal politicians
who don't realize why Donald Trump is president, and fake safes? And you may wonder, why fake safes? Well, a fake safe is like Joe Biden, cheap and ineffective. A real safe from the Atlanta Safe House is like Donald Trump, tough, effective, and provides peace of mind when you need it the most. So drop by Atlanta Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast and see what a real safe looks like. So go to atlantasafehouse.com.
Bullet points.
I'm Eben Brown. The Trump administration is fighting back on a ban of semi-automatic firearms. The U.S. Department of Justice hasn't done this before, but they filed a briefing with the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals in an ongoing case about a ban of semi-automatics and so-called high-capacity magazines out of Illinois. The federal government in this brief is siding with the plaintiff, Caleb Barnett, who is suing the state of Illinois over their bans. In the brief, the DOJ even argues the Seventh Circuit made the wrong call in an earlier case upholding the bans. In that previous case, the circuit court ruled firearms like the AR-15 style rifles are militaristic and therefore outside the protection of the Second Amendment. The DOJ now says even if that is the case, that's not enough to ban them under the Supreme Court rulings like Heller and the Bruin decisions. And those are your bullet points. I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
This is House Call for Health. A daily dose of fruits and vegetables could help you get a good night's rest. Researchers from Columbia University and the University of Chicago found eating more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains is beneficial for better sleep. They collected data from healthy young adults who logged what they ate daily using a smartphone app and wore wrist monitors to track their sleep habits. The study measured sleep fragmentation, or how often someone wakes up or shifts into lighter sleep. Results show those who ate more produce and healthy carbohydrates had better quality sleep at night. Researchers say eating 5 cups of fruits and vegetables a day could improve sleep quality by 16% compared to eating none. The study is one of the first to show how diets can impact sleep. It was published in the journal Sleep Health. You can find more on the study at uchicagomedicine.org, or for more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Saving you money, I'm Hillary Barsky. During the summer months, it's easy to see surging monthly electric bills as you crank up your air conditioner. But there are ways to combat those high costs, according to Consumer Reports, like giving your system a break. Try using ceiling fans or tower fans to help cut costs and use less energy. Most homes can raise the thermostat a bit higher with the use of fans. And also check your weather stripping to make sure your home isn't too drafty. You can also install a smart thermostat. Many people forget to adjust their thermostat, so with a programmable thermostat, you can program and forget. And think about getting an in-window AC unit. If you have one room that gets warm easily, this can be a budget-friendly solution. And if you're installing a new HVAC system, consider getting a maintenance contract. They do typically cost around $150 to $500 a year. However, the additional expense may be worth it in the long run. Saving you money, Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Marietta City Council approved a plan for a 31-acre data center campus to be built on Bells Ferry Road. City staff said the data center will generate significant tax revenue for both the city of Marietta and the Marietta school system. Planned development will house 2 buildings, a substation, and a detention pond to manage runoff rainwater. Atlanta-based movie mogul Tyler Perry is being sued for $260 million. Actor Derek Dixon is accusing Perry of sexual harassment, assault, and retaliation. The lawsuit filed in Los Angeles says Dixon first met Perry while working at Perry's studios in Atlanta. And Ackworth police officers are being commended for their compassion and attentiveness. Officers LaFave and Hatcher helped locate a missing North Carolina man with dementia during a traffic stop Sunday night. The officers noticed the man's distress and found that he was reported missing after a records check. He was transported to Kennestone for treatment, and his family was notified. Today's weather, partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Temperatures will reach the high 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
There is one representative that says America is the worst. If you had to guess, and you can call 404-741-1230. Find me at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms, at Tug Coward, at Angela Morabito, at Angela L. Morabito to get Angela, who's in for Front Office Los today, or at Whiskey Click for Jeray. But if you had to guess, you just have to take a wild guess, which political party do you think the member of Congress that said America is the worst belongs to, Angela?
I have a feeling all your listeners are going to get this right.
I mean, this is like sitting it on the tee and just hitting a grand slam right off of it.
Well, she is, of course, a Democrat and probably also, unsurprisingly, a squad member. This is Representative Ilhan Omar out of Minnesota. In an interview prior to the Army's 250th birthday parade, she said, America is the worst, but don't take it from me. We've got the audio.
To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights.
I'm not sure what she said. To be honest, like, nothing she said was coherent.
It was Joe Biden word salad.
Yeah.
Like, if you tried to diagram that sentence, you'd be diagramming for a while.
I started to take notes on it, and I couldn't because I couldn't keep up with where she was going. She couldn't even take herself serious. Did you hear her with the there in the middle? She didn't even take what she was saying seriously enough to say it with conviction. She had to throw the little uncomfortable laugh in there, which seems like a nervous tick to me.
I think off in the distance, she could hear her comms team screaming, crying, maybe throwing up. Yes, lighting things on fire in the street, like anything to stop.
Probably all of those things.
All of the above. It was probably a busy day for them with all of their opposition to this military celebration and trying to keep her on track as she says something so completely absurd.
But this is a lady that said, I'm in the U.S. Congress to benefit Somalia. She said that out loud. It was, I think, last year when she said that. So anything she says has been diminished already because I understand now that you don't have America's best interest at heart. Not that I ever thought she did, but I was surprised that she said it out loud.
Yeah, she really was saying the quiet part out loud. Like, that was probably meant to be an inside thought.
That's right.
But when she calls America the worst, she's from a place that actually is the worst by a lot of metrics. In her home country of Somalia, she lived there till she was 8 years old. Part of the country is controlled by a terror group called Al-Shabaab. Adults are unlikely to see their 60th birthday. Infant mortality really high. Literacy really low. It's under 1 in 4 Somalian women are ever taught to read and write. That's the worst.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of what the worst is. So when you get to the United States and you see the opposite, women that do get to go to school and go to college and live however they choose to, it's hard for me to take her seriously for so many reasons. But that one specifically, because you laid it out so well, what she comes from. And it takes me back to the Arnold Schwarzenegger cut that we played early this morning about, I don't know, it's probably getting close to about 45 minutes ago when he was on The View, I think yesterday, when he talked about when you come to the United States as a visitor, you're here to use the United States, to use it as a platform to start a family, to get educated, to reap the benefits of this wonderful nation. you should treat it like a guest. And she doesn't. She doesn't.
No.
She sees it as, how do I garner power? Because she's learned. I mean, that's what the Democrat Party does. How do we garner power? How do we get our hands on a lot of money? And how do we frighten people? How do we tell people that this place is terrible and that it's us? Trust us. We're going to fix it. And you have people like Ilhan Omar in squad member AOC. I use this quote all the time because it should scare you to death. I'm not trying to be, the Mr. Gotcha guy that's trying to, to frighten you, but this should scare you to know that somebody like AOC and Ilhan Omar is in the government of the United States. When AOC says, I'm okay with the degradation of America, I'm okay with it crumbling down because it was never good to begin with. It's the same way that Ilhan Omar feels. It was never good to begin with. And then maybe something can spring up from that rubble. She's talking about socialism. She's talking about communism. What does Ilhan Omar believe? Socialism and communism, they're birds of a feather. So it shouldn't be surprising that two people like that will use the United States, say it's terrible for their own benefit, and then hopefully tear it down so they can implement socialism and communism. That's what their goal is. They're very clear about it. They don't even hide it.
Yeah, they have not been shy about it. And I did notice that all of the Democratic opposition to this military parade pretty much evaporated after it happened.
Very quickly.
Because it was beautiful.
Well, there was two things. It was very cool. But it was never about Donald Trump. They tried to make this to be a Donald Trump. He was going to be this supreme leader.
It's his birthday, and he's throwing himself a birthday
military parade party when we know that it was planned under the Biden administration. And Donald Trump, that all that I really saw him do was swear in new recruits.
And that, to me, was the most moving part of the whole
incredible.
thing. What a special moment for those people who have signed up to serve our country, just like you did, Tug, to take that oath in front of the president and in front of the nation.
Absolutely. It was really special.
And Ilhan Omar is going, America's the worst. And we're like, okay, well, you may think that, but we're over here throwing a party.
Yeah, exactly. You can be involved or you can be left behind, Jerry.
It just confuses me so much. It boggles the mind on how someone like this could get elected in this country and keep that seat. But it comes back to the immigration issue because Minnesota has the Twin Cities up there. They have the largest Somali population. So she got in there and said, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this. Let me get elected. And that comes back to, when there's refugee status, that's something we want to allow people to come here to escape that. But we still have to remain America. And we need leaders who are celebrating this country and not calling it one of the worst countries in the world. And I just am so stunned that she has managed to keep that position.
Well, but not. It shouldn't be surprising at all because you just laid it out as to why. I mean, if you have that level of Somali immigrant in the Twin Cities, and that's where she's from, who else are they going to elect? She's telling them every day, I'm doing this for Somalia. I'm doing this for your homeland. Wave your flag. We're just going to use America to get what we want because she said her goal is to ultimately move home. She wants to move back to Somalia.
Make America Somalia is not a winning message unless you're being voted for by a bunch of people who also think that's a great idea. Yeah. I mean, and there's some evidence out there that she may have abused the immigration system.
Yeah, by marrying her brother.
Yeah, that one is a curveball. And Jerry, I'm with you on this one. I don't know how she keeps getting put into office, but I do know that whoever wants to run against her has their campaign ad ready to go.
Yeah,
just
America's
play her
the worst.
Constantly saying America is the worst.
Another interesting fact that came out this time last year, there were 62 or 64,000 people, illegals, that were released into the United States under the Biden administration. We'll split the difference and say 63 because I've seen both, 64 and 62,000. So it's June, so we'll back up to May. May of 2024, 63,000 people released into the United States, illegal immigrants released into the United States.
That's a small city.
Yeah, it is. It's a great comparison. You know what it was last month under the Trump administration? 0.
Amazing. This is what we voted for.
Absolutely it is. It's fascinating to see because it was planned. There was no surprise to the Biden administration what was happening. They knew exactly what they were doing. That whole, we couldn't get it, but that new law passed because Donald Trump said not to vote for it. You didn't need a new law. Yeah. It was clear you didn't need a law. We all knew you didn't need a new law. Enforce the laws that are on the books, and they would take care of themselves, and it has. That's all we did. Donald Trump's not changed anything. We didn't need new laws. Just like he said, we needed a new president. And if you need a snapshot of the difference in the Biden administration and what Donald Trump is doing in the Trump administration, just look at illegal immigration 1 month, year over year, and you have your answer.
It shows you how efficient he has been, because we are less than 1 year into President Trump's second term. I don't know if he's hit the 6-month mark yet.
I don't think he has. I think we're 5 months. 5 in.
Yeah. And he's already done what he was hired to do.
Yeah, that's right.
The traditional way of doing this, I think, on either party, when you want to get something done is, well, we need to have debate and rulemaking, and we have to negotiate, and we have to get through Congress, and oops, now you're out of office.
Yeah.
You ran out the clock.
It was never about helping America. It was never about sealing the border. It's all about that game, that performance that everybody in Congress seems to abide by. There were people that were actually discussing new laws. Yes, we need this new law, and they were laying it at the feet of Donald Trump and the Republicans for not passing this new law. Anytime you hear them talking about new laws, most likely it's performative.
Oh,
because
yeah.
How do I look like I'm doing something in this seat that I've been elected to? How do I convince my constituents that I'm doing something? Well, I talk about this new law. We don't need new laws. I want less laws. I'm tired. I feel like we've got plenty of laws. Let's enforce the laws that are there and see how things go. Until then, stop telling me about new laws, because it's all BS, and I know it. I can see through it. And if there's an example that needs to be shared over and over and over again, it's that silly law that they were saying that they needed to pass to seal the border right before Trump was elected.
Right. Coming here illegally was already illegal. That's why we call it illegal immigration. It's right there in the name. And trying to convince the American public that that wasn't true was a losing battle for the left from the start.
Yes, it was.
I mean, Trump won his first term on an immigration mandate. He won his second term on an immigration mandate.
Yeah.
It's not complicated what people want, and then the left sits there and wonders why they're hemorrhaging voters, particularly Hispanic voters. It's because
they're blown away by that.
they came here legally.
That's right.
They followed the law. They did this right.
And he has the biggest support, some of the biggest support for his immigration crackdown, if you'll call it that, his immigration rules and actually enforcing the law comes from the Hispanic community. Legal immigrants. Not just Hispanic, we probably shouldn't narrow it to Hispanic, but just people that come to the United States legally.
Yes.
Because they did things the right way. They know the process. They know that it takes time, and there's reason that it takes time. That's actually a good thing that it takes time. And when those people see others just skipping the line and breaking the law, they're like, no, that's what I left. I don't want to see that again. Where law breaking is just accepted. That's what is in the country that I left to come here to get away from.
Yeah, they're in many cases escaping that culture of lawlessness. They don't want to see it happen here because they've lived it. They know how bad it is.
Absolutely right. 404-741-1230 is the number. If you would like to jump into the conversation, Angela Morabito is in for Front Office Los. Of course, Angela worked in D.C. for about 13 years. Press secretary for the Department of Education under the first Trump administration, now with the Defense of Freedom Institute. Defense of Freedom Institute. Is it DFI.org?
It's DFIpolicy.org.
There you go. Easy to get a hold of there if you want to learn more about that organization. More performative ICE protests that Americans reject. This one happened in New York City. It's next on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Braves beat the Mets 5-4 in extra innings last night. Ronald Acuna Jr. got on base 5 times and made a spectacular catch at the wall in the 9th inning. Austin Riley drove home the walk-off run on a pop fly. Chris Sale takes the mound tonight in the second game of the series. He'll face off against Paul Blackburn. First pitch is set for 7:15. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680 The Fan. And the Florida Panthers are your back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They defeated the Edmonton Oilers 5-1, taking the series in 6 games. The Panthers are the first team to win back-to-back Stanley Cups since the Tampa Bay Lightning. In the NBA Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder is leading the series against the Pacers 3-2. Tyrese Halliburton was injured Monday night with a right calf sprain. He returned to the game, but his status for Game 6 in Indiana on Thursday night is in question. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Don't miss the first MLB All-Star Week event at Truist Park as talent meets tradition in the 3rd annual HBCU Swingman Classic presented by T-Mobile and powered by the MLBPA Youth Development Foundation. Join fans, athletes, and alumni to watch Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. shine a light on 50 of the best young ball players from HBCUs around the country on baseball's biggest stage, July 11th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets today at allstargame.com/swingman.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog in our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards, so you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check him out online at atlturfco.com.
Gentlemen, listen up. When it's not hard, it's really hard. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 have some form of ED? It's true, and I'm one of them. ED followed me everywhere. Heck, even my initials are ED. I'm Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia, and I know ED. It can lead to feelings of embarrassment, stress, and sadness. But there's good news. I can fix it. I fixed mine, and I can fix yours too. At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, we are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, trimix to create an erection, and more. Guys, ED won't get better on its own, but I can help you today. Call us at 404-777-1911. That's 404-777-1911, or learn about us more online at tbtofga.com. So take it from me, ED, Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Call 404-777-1911 or online at tbtofga.com.
The warm air, the beautiful weather, and the sounds of baseball. It's got you thinking about hitting the road. And no matter where your adventures take you, Subaru of Gwinnett has a vehicle to get you there safely and in style. Like the 2025 Subaru Outback, which will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 32 miles per gallon. And if you're up for adventure, it'll get you off the beaten path with up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. More than the Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4 or the 2025 Subaru Forester, the SUV for all you love. It's the right-sized SUV for all the adventures ahead with a spacious and comfortable interior for everyone you want to bring along. And no matter where adventure takes you, it starts on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth with the amazing staff at Subaru of Gwinnett. They'll help you find the Subaru that you'll love and be there every step of the way for everything you need. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Information security engineer positions offered by Motrex LLC in Alpharetta, Georgia. Responsible for providing technical guidance within an enterprise's information security and compliance environment and recommending security and compliance measures to safeguard its valuable information assets. Domestic travel required up to 10% of working time. Submit resume and transcripts to talent.acquisition@motrexllc.com and reference ID 8491342.
Promises made, promises kept. The president is making the economy great again. He's securing the border for America's safety, and the mainstream media still wants to tear him down.
The media wants Donald Trump to fail. That's their goal. That's how they'll report his progress.
But we know the truth, and we give you the perspective that other stations won't. Atlanta's only conservative voice is Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
The performative failure failures of the Democrats. It's the only way that they can get press. It's the only way they can get their constituents. That's the only way they can get your eyes on them, is to do something that is compared to theater in my book. You saw it with Senator Padilla. He knew exactly what he was doing. When Kristi Noem was having the press conference and he barged in, Secret Service, of course, surrounded him, threw him on the ground. He never identified himself until he was already on the ground. He wasn't wearing his pen that only senators wear. He knew exactly what he was doing. He did this to get your attention because they have no message. There's no way for them to speak to you without getting some sort of attention, negative if need be, and that's what they've gone with. And now we've got this again. It's Senator Padilla Part 2, this time with Brad Lander. He's a guy that is the comptroller for New York City now, and he's running for mayor of New York City, the largest city in America, and maybe the most important city in America when it comes to everything that happens culturally, financially, everything goes on in New York City. But this dude, Angela, did the exact same thing that Senator Padilla did. And if you back it up a little bit, that Senator Van Hollen did with the whole Braille Garcia thing.
It was, I'm going to do something outlandish, and I'm bringing all the cameras.
That's exactly right. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey did the same thing at the ICE facility when he got arrested. Hey, do you see the pattern? They can't speak to you unless they get that camera on them, and the only way they can do that, because they have nothing to say, is to do something outlandish. This performative method that they're using is failing. And Brad Lander, the same way, it's failing as well. I want you to hear it real quick, and then we'll kind of debate what happened and what we're seeing. 404-741-1230 if you've got a point of view on this.
Let go and show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Sir, where is the warrant? I have my hand here. I would like to see the warrant. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. Take a minute.
So you see the scuffle, you see the craziness that has gone down. He goes into this ICE detention center, this place where they're holding a person, and it was maybe a courtroom. I think because he was asking for the what is it? A
warrant.
A warrant. Thank you. Tough word. The warrant, and it was all performative because ICE didn't need a warrant to arrest this man. They know he's in the country illegally. They're going to arrest him. He was like, how do I get the attention? How do I get the cameras on me? So I'll go in and do this.
And just like Senator Van Hollen, he's going to these great lengths, quote unquote, for an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
When is the last time any of these people did something like that for an American citizen? I'm not recommending it, but you see the level of effort that goes into helping people who break the laws to come into this country versus the level of effort for people who are just here trying to live their lives. It is very, very different.
Very different. And that's because they know the American people, by and large, have said, we're not voting for you anymore. We don't believe you anymore. We don't trust you anymore. Everything you've said to us has been a lie. Everything you've done has been wrong. You've not done anything to garner our trust. So what do? They abandon the American people, and they're like, we'll import new voters.
Yep.
And this is they have to defend these people. They have to defend illegal aliens because they know that is their only chance of regaining power. The census, we've talked about the census a bunch of times on the show. We talked about it yesterday. How do we backfill? The people that are leaving California, we're losing seats in California. We will put plenty of people in California. We'll let them in illegally because the census doesn't count citizens. It counts people. That will help us. That's what they're going for. And then we're going to allow these people to vote. It is our plan. Nancy Pelosi said it. The mayor of Chicago said it. We are going to allow illegals to vote. What does that do? Secure their power. So now you know why they're defending these people. It's not because they care for them. We talked about the Confederate blue states yesterday.
Yeah, Brad Lander's using this guy.
Absolutely.
To get his name out there.
That's exactly right. And he hopes that it's going to help him win the biggest mayoralship in the country in New York City.
Yeah, this New York mayoral race is messy. You've got somebody running who's kind of this young upstart, avowed socialist, says things that are terrifying. You've got Brad Lander, This was employed just to get his name out there.
Yeah, nobody would have known who he was otherwise.
Oh, yeah, he's the city's comptroller. I had to Google, what is a comptroller? What is he comptrolling?
Yeah.
He's a budget guy. He's in charge of the budget.
That's right.
Very important job. It's certainly not a glamorous gig, but a really important one. Well, he sees other people going out and getting all this attention and said, I'm going to get my slice of the pie.
That's exactly right. It's so performative. But the American people see that. And I hope the people in New York City see it. You know, it's very much like Fani Willis here in Georgia. She was like, how do I get my name out there? How do I advance my career in politics? I know. I'll campaign on prosecuting Donald Trump. And did. She thought that was going to be her golden ticket. She thought that was going to be the thing that made her a prominent Democrat. She knew the Democrat Party would be all behind her, and they were, until the wheels fell off the bus, because there was nothing to charge Donald Trump with. They had nothing. All 34 felony counts have now gone by the wayside because they were performative. Fani Willis fell into the same trap here in Georgia that Brad Lander is falling in up there. Now, I'm not saying that Atlanta and New York work the same way. They're very different cities, and I understand that, with a very different group of people voting. But I think most people see it for what it is. Does that mean that Brad Lander might get elected? Sure. I think there's a strong possibility, even. I mean, there are going to be crazies that get elected in New York City because that's just what New York City do. It's blue. That's what they do. It's a blue city. And we would say the same thing about Atlanta. It's crazy. Downtown Atlanta, the politics of Atlanta are crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever. But I'm not trying to give Atlanta a pass, but it's not as bad as New York City.
Oh, very few things are as bad as New York City. And that's unfortunate because it's such a huge place. They've got tons of people. Like the law of free markets, right? They should be getting the best of the best.
You would think.
And instead they're getting bottom of the barrel. And that's one thing that has always made me sad about politics is I think a lot of the times the worst people run.
Yeah.
I have seen that happen in D.C. I have seen it happen here in Georgia, and we're seeing it now in New York, that people are in it for their own personal glory.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the exact opposite
of what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. Public service doesn't mean the public serves you by lavishing praise and money and power on you.
Self-service is what it really is.
Exactly. And I think Brad Lander showed his cards here, and this one's going to come back to bite him.
We'll see. I don't know what to make of it. I know that most Americans, anybody that looks at it knows that it's performative. Anybody that looks at it knows exactly what he's doing. How that plays in New York City, no idea. Because it's not like there's good options. I mean, when you even think about Eric Adams, he's not a good option.
No.
He's decided because the Democrats turned on him because he was like, wait, maybe we don't need all these illegals in the city of New York because we can't afford them. And you're seeing the same thing happen in California. I brought it up earlier with the polling in California where Californians are sick and tired of paying for illegals and their health care because it's bankrupting the state. The polling shows for the first time that Californians are like, we're done with this. We can't survive this way. So you're seeing a turn a little bit, the worm turning a little bit, but does that change the way they vote? And I don't know the answer. But the point is, Eric Adams, he saw what Californians are now seeing. He knew that they couldn't keep up that. The budget was never going to last. So he flipped and he said, this is bad. Democrats turned on him because there's no way you can have a separate thought. You can't change. You can't get out of step with the Democrat Party and be in good standing.
No room for dissent.
That's right, exactly.
Not at all. David Hogg tried it. They kicked him out because he said on a hidden camera that Nancy Pelosi is the queen. Now, anyone with eyes and ears is aware of this.
Yeah, it's not nothing new.
He said the quiet part out loud, and he lost his gig with the DNC because of it.
And so Mayor Adams now has a relationship with Donald Trump, which has further pushed him out of the Democrat Party, and they don't want anything to do with him. Did he change? Did he become an independent? Do you know, Jeray?
That sounds familiar.
I feel like that is something that he may have done. But it's not like he was a great mayor for the city of Atlanta, city of New York, rather. I mean, he's bottom of the barrel. So every choice is there. Like you said, it's always the worst of the worst that seems to run in these blue cities, and maybe just in politics in general.
Yeah, he is running as an independent.
Okay, I thought so.
That is questionable because anytime someone like Karine Jean-Pierre says I'm an independent, I'm like, okay, independent of what?
Yeah, right.
Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Are they the Democrat Party not communist and socialist enough for you?
Right.
Which may be the case with her.
Entirely possible.
It certainly sounds like that is the case. Interesting debate, interesting dialogue. 404-741-1230 is the number. At Extra 1063 across the social media platforms. What Trump should do about Iran. Talk about that after the Fox News update on Extra 1063. Tug and Los until 10. Angela Morabito is in for Front Office Los. He's on vacation until Monday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Extra 1063.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 1063.
You probably already know that Colorado is one of the worst states when it comes to liberal idiocy and progressivism, or whatever they call it. But you ain't heard nothing yet. Listen to this. Colorado has a new law. Now you can't dead name people. What the hell does dead name mean? Well, I'll be the one to tell you. If you have a boy that decides he'd rather be a girl or vice versa, they will change their name. Maybe from Charles to Christina. And after they do that, if you call them Charles, you've committed a human rights violation. New Colorado law. The same goes for pronouns. Misgendering a tranny is now a punishable offense under Colorado law. They call this public accommodation protections. Not in your house, okay? Call them what you will. But out in public, restaurants, hotels, stores, whatever, you use whatever name these sickos tell you to use and whatever pronouns. And not only this, stop laughing now, okay? Sit down. The Colorado Civil Rights Commission can require you somehow to participate in mandatory education programs. I guess it's like community service. You call somebody who is a he but claims to be a she a him, and you can be ordered by a court to attend one of these re-education programs. Oh yeah, the lawsuits have already been filed. We'll see where it goes. But why? Why every time stupidity and idiocy like this surfaces, it's always Democrats. It's always progressives. When are we going to be totally fed up with these people? Way past time. Neil Bortz, Extra 1063.
Securing America.
A Senate Appropriations Subcommittee hearing Tuesday examined the issue of military installations as the fiscal year 2026 budget process continues. Georgia Democratic Senator John Ossoff on why this is an important national security issue.
If service members can't live, eat, train, and work in safe, healthy, world-class facilities, our readiness is undermined, and so is morale.
The Assistant Deputy Chief of Space Operations for the Space Force, General Zachary Warakomsky, said facility importance cannot be understated.
It is foundational to the launch and operational missions we conduct across the entire spectrum of conflict.
Assistant Secretary of Defense Dale Marks added,
"We want to ensure warfighters are able to deliver 100% of their effort to their missions without having to worry about issues with their housing or the health and safety of their family members back home."
The condition of military housing has been highly criticized in recent years. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Iran warns Israel and the U.S. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Supreme Leader, in a statement today, says Israel made a huge mistake attacking them and will be punished. And if the U.S. joins Israel, Ayatollah Khamenei says it'll undoubtedly result in irreparable damage for America.
Speculation's growing that President Donald Trump might help Israel destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. The Pentagon has also sent more warplanes to the region. Speaking to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, top Iranian diplomat Ali Bahraini warning his country would respond to direct U.S. involvement.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The president's calling on Iran to surrender, but posted on Truth Social, patience is wearing thin. And Israel keeps up the attacks with more strikes today on nuclear and missile facilities.
Our mission is clear: to remove the threat at its source.
Israeli Army spokesman Effie Defrin, as Iran keeps firing back. Those are air raid sirens overnight in Tel Aviv.
People here in central Israel were sent scrambling for the bomb shelters as Iranian missiles flew in. There were two separate attacks just after midnight local time.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv. He reports most of the 30 missiles were shot down. The ones that got through did not cause any casualties.
Remarkable video from the sky over Jerusalem as an Iranian missile re-enters the atmosphere and burns like a comet. Also, with that missile, no reports of injuries.
There's no curfew anymore in Los Angeles. The mayor lifted it, citing less violence and destruction of the protesting against illegal immigration raids. An appeals court has heard a challenge to President Trump's National Guard troop deployment to deal with those protests. They're celebrating another championship in Florida after the Panthers won hockey's Stanley Cup again.
This is why we become parents, to enjoy the best things in life with our children. I love my kids. Go Panthers!
Florida repeated as champs, beating the Edmonton Oilers the second straight year, winning Game 6 last night 5-1. America's listening to Fox News.
Quiet down. Here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Hey, it's your old pal Neil Bortz. I'm back on Atlanta's only conservative news talk station, Extra 106.3. Okay, here's more of the Morning Extra.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 106.3. Angela Morabito in for Front Office. Los Angela has great experience in Washington, D.C. as the press secretary for the Department of Education under Betsy DeVos in the first Trump term, and brings that experience and knowledge to the Morning Extra. For the rest of the week, been in for Front Office Los, and can't thank you enough for getting up early. I know it's probably unusual getting up at the hour that you are.
It
just
definitely
to be in
is,
here.
but I love to do it. I love to join the show, and I'm grateful to y'all for having me.
Yes, always welcome. This, as we were talking during the break, it's almost like the murders, which is crazy. The murders of the two state senators, I guess the one state senator and her husband, and then the attempted murder of the other and his wife, have almost taken a back seat. They're almost not being discussed, which is crazy because it's such a big story, and the rhetoric on the left that trumps up this, no pun intended, that causes this to happen, almost has taken a back seat because of this story in Israel and Iran. And I understand why, but there's that little bit of me that says we can't let that go. We have to acknowledge that. We have to talk about it. We have to make sure that things like that don't happen in the United States of America.
Yes, I just hope that the authorities can get to the bottom of why this happened. And so far, it looks like every new detail that comes out about these shootings of the lawmakers in Minnesota makes things more complicated and not less.
Yeah, no, that's right. I can't figure any of it out. It's the most convoluted story that I think I've ever read. You got the what was the lady's name that is being tried for murdering her police officer husband, the Reed trial.
Karen Reed?
Yeah. My wife's so fascinated by that. She even asked me the other day, she was like, are y'all talking about that on the show? And I was like, where are we going to put that in? Like, where?
Got a lot going on these days.
It's just, unfortunately, no. And she's so captivated by it. But that just shows you how many things that are going on in the world simultaneously. And if you think about it, Donald Trump's shouldering it all. As the president, whomever the president would, if it wasn't Donald Trump, whoever it would be doing the same thing. I'm glad that it's Donald Trump because I don't trust that Joe Biden or that board of directors who ran the Biden administration being able to do it. Can you imagine Kamala Harris?
Oh, I mean, I could, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
We would have no leadership.
Zero.
No one, even her voters, couldn't tell you what she stands for.
Yeah, even then, I remember people asking. those Kamala Harris voters, well, what is it that you don't like about Donald? Oh, he's racist, he's a dictator, just all the talking points, everything they've been fed on CBS and CNN and ABC and NBC or whatever, MSNBC for that matter. And then, okay, well, what do you like about Kamala Harris? Well, she's not Trump. That's what it boiled down to, because they had no answers. They had no idea what they were saying.
And the anti-Trump stuff continues, especially with the shootings in Minnesota. You were talking about how there's so little good information out there. It's all very murky. Chuck Schumer knows exactly why it all happened.
But let me be clear. This dangerous environment isn't spontaneous. It's being stoked, often deliberately, by the reckless rhetoric coming from some of the most powerful voices in the country. When political opponents are treated like enemies, danger follows. And that's what Donald Trump has done. It's the responsibility of all leaders, especially the President of the United States, to not just unequivocally condemn hatred, but to stop violent and aggressive language against political opponents. Let me be clear.
Where did the violent language start?
Well, Trump's a dictator. Trump's Hitler. I mean, that's where it all began.
Threat to democracy.
All the time.
World War III.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would like to ask Chuck Schumer, at what point did Donald Trump embrace any violence? At what point did he say be violent or insinuate? Because that's the thing that the Democrats do really well. They don't outright say it. They insinuate it. Now, when it's about Donald Trump, they outright say it. As you mentioned, threat to democracy, as I said, Hitler. So what does that mean? If he's Hitler, what did we do in World War II to eliminate Hitler? We got rid of him.
Took him out.
We took him out. So what are you alluding to that you believe should be done? It's the same thing. I'm no mathematician. I'm no scholar by any means, but I can do that math.
Oh, yeah. People connect the dots really easily.
Yeah, it's not
and when
hard.
you say that Donald Trump is evil, he's this, he's that, he's a threat to everything that we love and believe in, that can be used to justify a lot. And social media has become a huge vehicle for this. I saw a TikTok yesterday, actually, where somebody said, here's how you make a snowball shield if you're getting hit with ice. Mm-hmm. And this guy gives you about a 90-second DIY on how to make a shield that you can use to theoretically fight law enforcement in the streets.
Yes, it's peaceful, mainly peaceful.
Oh, yes, mostly peaceful as it goes up in flames.
Yeah, right. None of those people ever say anything that is actually constructive, like follow the law. Right. How about maybe some of that? Maybe those folks on the left could just say, hey, here's the law, let's follow it. They can't even do that in protest. Protest is completely protected by the First Amendment. And yet they bastardize that. They even can't do that right. You're allowed to stand on the sidewalk or beside the sidewalk, out of the way of everyday Americans. You can't obstruct people, and hold your signs, shout as loud as you want, do the silly chants, whatever you want to do. They can't even get that simple part right because their ideology doesn't allow it. It is, we're not being heard. Action is not happening fast enough. We're going to ramp it up. We're going to be violent. We're going to set cars on fire. We're going to burn down cities. You don't see that at the March for Life. I brought this up yesterday. You don't see that on the right. That's the biggest protest in Washington, D.C.
Massive.
1 million people show up in Washington, D.C. In downtown Atlanta, several thousand people show up. And you know what's never been burned? A car. No one's ever been shot and killed. Do you not see the difference? It should be very clear to you. Yeah. And that's the most important protest that I know of on the right.
They leave places better than they found them, and that's something that you don't always see. There was a March for Climate a few years back in D.C., and the photos of the National Mall after that march showed you exactly how much these people care about the climate. There was trash everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. It looks like a concert here at the Battery.
Yes.
After the concert at the Roxy, when you come in the next morning, there's just bottles there.
It's chaos.
Because people leave out of there, they've had way too much to drink and jump in an Uber, and they just throw their trash on the ground. And the Battery does, and the Braves do such a great job of cleaning up the area. You wouldn't know it. I come in so early in the morning, I see it. Getting here at 5, Jeray sees it, getting here at 5, and Angela, you've probably seen it this week at least.
Yeah, they had some big concerts.
Yes, they have. They've had some big ones out there. But that's the difference, and it's so clear for everybody. It's so clear for the American people. Now on to the thing that I think Trump is doing the very best, playing this the right way when it comes to Iran and Israel, putting pressure on the failing government in Iran and the Ayatollah, but not committing the U.S. to anything at this point. He's speaking very directly, but not giving an inch of what to expect, which is, what do you want to do in war? You use the element of surprise. You use the element of misdirection. He's trying to frighten an already weakened Ayatollah, an already weakened Iranian government. I think the most genius thing he's done so far is telling people, get out of Tehran, because look at the chaos it created. Look at the pressure that adds to the Iranian dictatorship. They don't know what to do. They don't have control of the airspace above. You've got the countries around them saying, we're not doing anything. Russia has said out loud, we are not providing any war material to the Iranians. The Russians are stepping back. The Saudi Arabians, they released just a message. The Syrians are allowing the Israelis and the Americans to use their airspace. The Lebanese doing nothing. The Iranians are on the brink of failure as far as their government goes. Now it's up to the people to revolt and say, we're going to topple this. But you use this. I mean, and as I've said, I don't want the U.S. to be involved militarily, but I support Trump, and I believe he has America's best interest first and foremost. That's the thing that I trust completely, is that he loves this country the way I do.
Iran has nowhere to turn, and President Trump knows that anytime he posts on Truth Social, anytime he makes a statement, anytime he has Caroline Leavitt at the podium, that's being listened to around the world, including in Tehran or wherever what's left of the Iranian leadership is now in hiding. Wherever they are, they're paying attention. So the signals he sends are incredibly important, not just to the American people, but to our ally Israel and to Iran. So I think he's been very careful about what he says, and he has maintained, J.D. Vance put it very well, and said he's been incredibly consistent.
That's exactly right, and he has.
And in saying, this is not our fight, but Israel is our ally, and we are here to support. We are not leading the charge.
That's right. I support Israel completely. I've said that from the get-go. I think that's what we need to do. They're the only place in the Middle East that you can practice whatever religion you want. You can be a Christian. You can be a Jew and celebrate Judaism. You can be worship, like I said, any way you want. You can be Muslim, for that matter. You can do anything you want. I don't want boots on the ground. I do hope and pray for the freedom of the Iranian people, because I think that's the environment, and I said this earlier, I think that's the environment that Donald Trump's trying to foster in that area, to allow the Iranians to do what they need to do to gain their independence from this dictatorship, which is what I want. I think that would be, like, if you could give me one option and you say, hey, how's it going to go? The Iranians do what they feel is the right thing to do for their country. Not what we think, not even what the Israelis think.
Right.
What do the Iranians think is best for their country? And we hope to foster that environment, because I believe there's plenty of them that remember the 70s when things were normal and the place looked like a normal city and was a great place for culture and a great place for people to live and raise families and all that. And then, of course, in 79, when the Shah was overthrown, things changed drastically, and I think those people are sick of living in the Stone Ages.
Yeah, there are 90 million Iranians. This is not a small group of people. This is not a group of people that, where we could nation build. It's small. It's not. This is not Iraq. It's very, very different. But if you hear from Iranians who are part of this kind of diaspora, if you hear from Iranians in the United States, like we did yesterday, they are on the side of freedom. They are not on the side of the Islamic government over there that has kept people in poverty and under authoritarianism for far too long.
Oh my gosh, yeah. David's in Kennesaw, 404-741-1230. David, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
I'm going to say this, and I'm sure it's going to ruffle some feathers.
That's all right.
But if Jimmy Carter would have been a strong president and supported the Shah of Iran and the royal family, the world would be a much different place.
No doubt about it, David. I think I've seen that bubble up on social media a whole lot. One of Jimmy Carter's biggest failures. That may be it. Other than the hostages that ultimately Ronald Reagan was able to get back. I mean, there was a lot wrong with Jimmy Carter's administration. Do I think deep down he was a good man? Yes. But do I think he was misguided in most everything he did? Yes, I do believe that too. A very poor president, and I hate to say that from a man from Georgia, because I want to be proud of the president that comes from the state that I love so much, that I'm so loyal to. But he was not. But I think David brings up a good point.
Totally.
And he supported them.
Yes, that the Middle East would look very different if Jimmy Carter had been the leader that
we
needed. Yes. Jimmy Carter, not a good president, but I will give him this. He might be have been our best ex-president.
Yeah, sure.
What he did after he left office in terms of Habitat for Humanity and promoting all these great humanitarian efforts were wonderful. But yeah, while he was in office, the world suffered for it.
Absolutely right. And then you compare that to Joe Biden and that administration, whoever was running it, and it had the very same kind of outcomes, the very same things happening. It was not a good administration for America or the world in either situation.
Sorry, how about the Obama administration offloading pallets of cash?
Yeah, right. Which, I mean, if there's anything and you have people that are, I want to say it was Jon Stewart the other night that I saw. Jon Stewart was like, we had a deal. Obama had a deal with the Iranians and Donald Trump took the deal away and it would have been just fine had he not done it. What kind of fool are you, Jon Stewart?
It wasn't a good deal. It was a bad deal.
We sent them billions of dollars. Do you remember the images of the stacks of cash? Do you remember that?
It took like a forklift off a plane or some kind of machine, right?
Unbelievable, those visuals. Talking about losing the optics game, they lost the optics game because the American people saw, wait a minute, you're going to give a dictatorship pallets of cash? That's the deal? How is that a good deal for America? How is that? I would ask Jon Stewart the same thing. Jon Stewart, how is that a good deal for America? But I saw that argument on social media a ton.
Really?
Saying that there was, we had a deal in place. No, we didn't. We had a bad deal in place, bad for America, and what ultimately financed everything that we're fighting against now.
Yeah, that deal wasn't working because it allowed Iran to continue building up its nuclear capabilities.
It's unbelievable, I want to say ignorance, willful ignorance. I guess it has to be willful ignorance because I wish we had that cut of. You should have to look it up, search for it. Jon Stewart talking about how great this deal was and how foolish he sounds while delivering this silly, silly message. I just can't, for the life of me, understand how he thinks that was a good idea, how anybody thinks that that's a good idea. And I don't think that most people do. But you have that 20%, those people on the left, those Democrats that are saying that to this moment, that was the way to go.
Maybe they thought it was a good deal before October 7th. Maybe they thought it was a good deal before it came out just in the past week or so that Iran was so close to a bomb. Maybe they thought, it's working. But if we learned anything over the last week, it has to be that deal failed.
Yeah, completely.
I think it failed when we gave them pallets of cash. But I don't know how anybody is still hanging on to that delusion at this point.
You know, it's funny you talk about the intel because Tulsi Gabbard back in, I think, March said that we feel like the Iranians are not building a bomb, which I think that intel is misguided.
I think
we got
so, too.
intel. We have intel all over the world that says otherwise. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm naive to the fact that our intel got us into the Iraq war, which we didn't need to do. That was bad intel, for sure. And that's why I brought it up earlier. There's not a silver bullet piece of intel that tells you do this or don't do that. It's a group. You take the best intel you can and build the puzzle, build the picture.
Yeah, you piece it together.
And you have to put it together, right? Sometimes there's missing pieces of the puzzle. And you have to fill in with your best instinct and your best judgment what that would be. And so I'm not naive to the fact that intel can lead you down the wrong path. But when you have it was up until, I think, 2003, they said the Iranians were definitely trying to build a bomb. And then since then, our intel tells us different. But I don't always trust our intel. And I have reason not to trust our intel. I think it's part of, and it goes back to some people, I think, using politics to influence intelligence, to influence the upper echelon of government in the United States. How do we get our people that may not agree with us to go along with what we're saying? Could it be something like that? Because I certainly think that's a possibility.
And it's so unfortunate, but it's hard to trust anything that comes out of the government.
Never.
I mean, I looked at the Biden jobs numbers and how those had to be revised. They weren't revised a little. They were revised a lot.
Yeah, every month they were revised.
I think up to around 1 million jobs over the course of the last part of his administration. When you can't trust the numbers on that domestically, it's hard to know, one, what people in Washington are seeing, especially like at the Pentagon, but it's also hard to trust that it's going to be accurate.
No doubt. This is the Morning Xtra at Extra 106.3. I've said, and I'll say it again, I don't want the United States involved in this. So I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't want anybody to think we should be involved, because I don't think we should be involved in this. I do think we should support our biggest ally in the Middle East, Israel.
And here's one bit of, call it good news. As far as intel goes, at the beginning of this last Friday, they estimated that Iran had about 2,000 missiles. We've seen what Israel has done. Iran has launched all those. They say they're down to about 12. We're not even halfway through Israel's 14-day plan, and
they're firing nearly. They only fired 10 yesterday.
Well, Iran is running out of the capability to even launch those missiles and the missiles, so this is not going to last forever.
No, it can't. But I will say, you have to keep this in mind, too. The way the Israelis are firing missiles in defense, I feel like they have plenty, but you have to see those numbers dwindle. It's just the way it works. Once you fire, you don't, unless you're able to replace them at will, and I don't believe that's the case. So even Israel's defenses will be lessened the longer this lasts, because they're using a lot to defend using the Iron Dome. All right, when we come back on Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Imagine this: a socialist wants to limit freedom of speech. I'll let you take a guess what party they belong to, or better yet, take a guess who it is that wants to limit this freedom of speech. Next on Extra 106.3.
Start your day with Tug and Los on the Morning Xtra from 6 to 10. Then it's Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck at noon, and the Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. And hang out every night for Jesse Kelly at 6 and Jimmy Fela at 9. And stream it all live in crystal clear HD on the Extra 106.3 app.
Jaron Solomon here, and this June, Solomon Brothers Jewelers is celebrating the people who make our world sparkle, you. All month long, we're giving back to the customers, partners, and charities that have helped us grow. We have exciting giveaways, including concert tickets, gift cards, prizes from the Braves and Dogs. And just by stopping in and filling out a wish list, we will give you a $100 credit to spend with us at our Buckhead, Alpharetta, or Sharpsburg locations, and $100 toward helping local heroes and charities like Leukemia Lymphoma Society and Extra Special People. Come visit us, join the celebration, and see how much community means at Solomon Brothers. Head to SolomonBrothers.com and click on the banner to find out more, including the full list of prizes. And thank you for being a part of our community for 40 plus years. Visit Solomon Brothers Jewelers in Buckhead, Alpharetta, or Peachtree City online at SolomonBrothers.com. Solomon Brothers is the preferred jeweler of your Atlanta Braves.
You protect your physical health by choosing your doctors carefully. Protect your financial health by choosing an attorney carefully. An accident can be very costly. You want to receive the compensation you deserve. Call Van Sant Law. My friend David Van Sant will take care of you, trust me, very well. The number is 855-GA-INJURY. The website is vansantlaw.com. In the event of an accident, it could be the most important phone call you make.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
This is Tom with the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, what's with all this honesty stuff?
We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly.
How honestly?
We guarantee that each vehicle we sell will come with a bill of sale showing what we paid for the vehicle. You'll pay what we pay, plus an honest fee. Guaranteed.
No gimmicks or tricks?
Nope.
Man, this sounds like a new way to buy a car.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1 or visit honestcarguy.com.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. Should members of the House and Senate have to face random screening for drugs? They will if GOP Louisiana Representative Clay Higgins has his way. Higgins says, quote, elected officials in Washington, D.C. should be subject to the same kind of random drug screenings that every blue-collar working-class American endures. We must live by the same rules. The legislation would make lawmakers go through a random drug test once per term. If a member tests positive for an illegal substance, they would be reported to the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee would then recommend punishment by the full House or Senate. Higgins says screening will cost the American taxpayers nothing. He would require members of Congress to reimburse all costs of the program. However, there's a question about the constitutionality of this plan. The House might need to approve this as part of its formal rules package. And there's a question about whether drug screening interferes with the Constitution's speech or debate clause. That clause generally shields lawmakers from special requirements or arrest as they carry out their congressional duties. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Marietta City Council approved a plan for a 31-acre data center campus to be built on Bells Ferry Road. City staff said the data center will generate significant tax revenue for both the city of Marietta and the Marietta school system. Planned development will house 2 buildings, a substation, and a detention pond to manage runoff rainwater. Atlanta-based movie mogul Tyler Perry is being sued for $260 million. Actor Derek Dixon is accusing Perry of sexual harassment, assault, and retaliation. The lawsuit filed in Los Angeles says Dixon first met Perry while working at Perry's studios in Atlanta. And Ackworth police officers are being commended for their compassion and attentiveness. Officers LaFave and Hatcher helped locate a missing North Carolina man with dementia during a traffic stop Sunday night. The officers noticed the man's distress and found that he was reported missing after a records check. He was transported to Kennestone for treatment and his family was notified. Today's weather, partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Temperatures will reach the high 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Angela said something so true, I do believe. And she said it in not a way that we were going to take it to the air, but I think we should. Tug and Los until 10. Angela in for Front Office Los. Of course, Angela spent 13 years in D.C., was the press secretary for the the Department of Education under Betsy DeVos in the first Trump term. She said something that I think is so true of everybody right now. And she said, I can't take my eyes off the news, and it's mainly the explosions. And it's so true. The brute force of some of these missiles that are being used, you can't help but look at them. Because it's like a bad wreck. You're so captivated. Is everybody okay? Is it okay? Is everything around me okay? I think it's such an inherent feeling that you're up against. I really do.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not alone because I have not been gripped by the news like this in a long time. And, I went to school up in D.C. for international relations. And even with as much as I love to follow this, I had no prediction here. I had no clue. I mean, I don't think anybody did that this was going to happen. And then watching it unfold is amazing because our early mornings are their afternoons and evenings over there. Right. And we're seeing statements come across the lower third of the screen of the Ayatollah saying, we will never surrender. Right. This has only begun. And we're saying, I don't know, man, this looks over to me.
Buddy, it's like Mike Tyson and Glass Joe. If you ever played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out when you were a kid on Nintendo Entertainment System, when the first couple of times, before you figured it out the game, Mike Tyson would just beat the daylights out of you in this video game. That's what it looks like. It looks like David and Goliath, and David is winning, and it's not even close. It just really isn't. And to your point about being so captivated by the explosions and the might of missiles and the weaponry and the military, I think most people are captivated by that. And I'll give you an example. When I was in the Navy, when we would do firing exercises or actually fire missiles, because we did both, I would walk out. If I were in a position, if I wasn't on watch or something, I would walk out to see the launch. Because you could stand, if it's happening on the front of the ship, you can stand on the bridge or you can stand on the aft of the ship and kind of watch it happen.
Wow.
and it's the most incredible thing you will ever see. And you're thinking to yourself, I know I'm doing this for good. I know there's a good reason behind it. If it's an exercise, we're preparing for worst case scenario. If it was an actual launch, like when I was stationed with Rear Admiral Johnson's Commander Carrier Group 6, I remember seeing the F-14s, which are now obviously not in use anymore, but the F-14s and the FA-18s, they would be loaded down with weaponry, and you would see them leave the carrier, and then they would come back hours later, and they're empty, knowing what they had, that they had taken out surface to missile sites, surface to air missile site, or whatever that the Iraqi government had pulled down in like a no-fly zone or whatever. But just seeing that, knowing what had just happened, and then later, I was in charge of. This was really early in PowerPoint presentations, but we had these the very first that I remember anyway, PowerPoint presentations that I would take all of the information that was given to us by the Air Wing and the commanders on other ships and the folks that were running comms and running just the radar screens on the ship, and we'd take all that information and then we would put it together every morning for the Admiral.
Wow.
And putting that together and just watching what our battle group was doing and kind of having a front row seat, and you're just like, holy cow. I don't know how one man commands this.
It's an incredible perspective.
And he has an incredible staff below him. I mean, and I was honored to be one of them. But it is unbelievable what we're capable of. And you think about it often. You're like, God, I hope I'm doing the right thing. You always want to know that you're doing the right thing, and you're doing things to ensure freedom, specifically for the United States, but hopefully the world.
Can I ask you a really dumb question?
Sure.
What does it feel like when you are standing on the bridge or standing just somewhere on the ship and something takes off? Does everything shake?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Do you have to hold on?
No, you don't have to hold on, but especially on a carrier. Like, here's something funny. The Admiral staff usually gets treated just a tick better than the ship's company.
Okay.
And then they made that known. Because literally we would fly on to when we're doing workups to go to the Middle East, to go to the Gulf or the Mediterranean or wherever. We would fly onto the ship while they were out for months at a time doing exercises, practicing, preparing to go. We would kind of fly out and do our stuff for a week.
Okay.
Fly off and go home. So that's not appreciated by everybody. That you're not out there the whole time. We were working on different things. It was just a different preparation for us, but it was not taken kindly. So the captain of the aircraft carrier gave our Commander Carrier Group 6 staff, they gave us the berthing area, the living quarters, 2 decks below the flight deck.
Oh, no.
So, bam! Every plane that takes off, or when you hear them ramp up the engines to launch, and then, the arresting cables that they would catch, and it was so loud, and you're trying to sleep through that. They knew exactly where they were sending us. They knew what they were doing.
You got the worst spot
we
in the
had
whole place.
The worst living quarters on board USS John F. Kennedy. But yeah, you would definitely know when there was movement. I mean, if you're in the mess decks or something, you could hear it, but it wouldn't necessarily shake the entire aircraft carrier. But you definitely knew when they were doing flight ops. There was no doubt. There was no question.
The first time you heard it from your living quarters, were people like freaking out?
No, because most people had been there.
Okay.
That was my first carrier, my first staff. I'd seen, for USS South Carolina, which was a nuclear-powered guided missile cruiser, we would have helicopters land on the back. We didn't have a helo on board our ship. But we'd have helos land and take off and whatever. So you'd seen it before. You kind of knew what to expect, but nobody really freaked out or anything. It was. I think everybody thought it was cool.
That's amazing. I feel like we're in very good hands because I would have been panicking.
Yeah.
Someone would have had to peel me off the ceiling.
Yeah, it was extraordinary to see the might of the American military up close, and I'm honored to have been able to do that, and would do it again. Both my grandfather's World War II veterans, so I wanted to follow in their footsteps for sure. It was a blessing. It was an honor to be able to serve. But, you just see what we're capable of, and you want to know that we're doing things for the right reason and that we're making good decisions on behalf of the country and behalf of maybe even the world.
That's what I liked so much about the Army's 250th birthday parade.
So positive.
It's positive, and you get to see this stuff. I mean,
you're paid for it.
I mean, I had never seen so much of this stuff up close. I mean, my one kind of experience with it, I've been on an aircraft carrier once, but my more recent experience was post January 6th when they bring in the National Guard. I would walk out of my office, and there was National Guard on every corner and tanks in the middle of the road.
See, but I think that's a fascinating story because I have no frame of reference for that.
So the National Guard were so kind. Like DC, most people are not like
overly
super
friendly,
open and friendly, but I can remember this is so silly.
Imagine that, a blue city and people not overly friendly.
I'm like, the nicest
surprise.
people here are the imports who are from all over the country who are just here to keep the peace. But there was tape around this crosswalk that I had to get across. It was about eye level for me. I'm 5'3", like after a yoga class. I'm really probably 5'2", but it's eye level for me, so it's high up. And these guardsmen are standing there in uniform, they're armed, and I looked at them and said, "Can I go under this?" And they said, "No, ma'am, you have to jump over it." Just completely making fun of me. And I was like, well played, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, right.
So, but that was, you never see it up close. And I love that the Trump administration and the military made this real for so many people.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the left tried to make it out as this is a Trump celebration. It's look at me, I'm the end all be all. I'm the dictator that they call me. I'm the person that's going to celebrate my own birthday, just so happens to fall on the same date. And it was none of that.
No, if you were watching Trump, you missed the good stuff.
Yes, well, but you didn't even see him that much to begin with.
Right.
I mean, surprisingly, I would have thought I would have seen him more, to be honest, but it was never about him, and that's the whole point. It was about celebrating 250 years of the Army, which was incredible. They deserve that, and I salute them. I think it's amazing, and I love seeing the equipment. Do I want to see it every year? No, I don't. But I recall after the Gulf War when they did a big parade, same way with all the tanks and everything that had come back from war and celebrating, the victory that they had gotten and come home after, defending freedom, and and those men and women deserved that recognition, and I'm glad that they got it. I don't know, in a lot of people don't realize that it was planned under the Biden administration. The whole idea came from under the Biden administration. It was just, put into place by Trump because he was elected. But I don't know that I would have done it. I don't know that many of the people in the military would have done it. It's something that military people don't look at themselves as extraordinary. And oftentimes they should, because they do extraordinary work and they've protected freedom for 250 years. But that's not the military way. It's not look at me. It's not look at me. It's a very different mentality. Sometimes you have to thank people for their service because they would never tell you that they've served to begin with. This is something that is so held near and dear. It's not about me. It's about the big picture. It's about the country.
That's what makes it so special, that service and sacrifice. And you probably don't hear it enough, but we're all grateful for your service.
It was my honor, as I said. But I'll give you another example. My son always gets on me at the Braves game because the Braves do such a tremendous job of recognizing our men and women in uniform.
Oh, good.
They are, if not the best in Major League Baseball, they're certainly in the top echelon of people that say we're going to honor our men and women in uniform. They have the POW MIA seat that's in the stadium. It's never sat in. It is there to recognize people that are prisoners of war or missing in action. And on special occasions, they have military members standing guard in front of it, kind of the way they do the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, if you're kind of thinking of how that might look. And there's a great picture that has been floating around social media for years. And on the day that they had someone there in Truist standing guard at that seat, it's pouring rain. And this is a U.S. Marine in full dress uniform.
Wow.
Getting just drenched. And there was a Braves fan that walks over and just holds the umbrella over him. And there's a great picture of that. If you can find it on social media, it'll put a lump in your throat. It's just so sweet. It's just the honor and respect is off the charts. I think the American people love our military. They love the people that serve, and that's a great example. That's a great image of it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. It is. And the Braves do such, like I said, they do such good work of honoring our military men and women. But the point I was bringing up is that my son always gives me a hard time because when they have veterans stand, I never do. And, you know, it's just so weird for me. I don't, you know,
you got to stand.
I'm so proud of my service. I usually do because I get convinced to do it by my wife and son. But but I think most veterans feel that way. It's not about me. It's not about. There's a bigger cause. There's a bigger purpose. I do believe that most veterans feel that way. But anyway, good conversation. This is the Morning Extra, 8 o'clock hour, brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. From a very heartwarming discussion to one that we touched on a little bit yesterday, and then it reared its ugly head again. Who's going to pick the cotton? That mentality is alive and well in the Democrat Party. We'll play you a piece of audio that will show you exactly what I'm talking about next on Extra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Braves beat the Mets 5-4 in extra innings last night. Ronald Acuna Jr. got on base 5 times and made a spectacular catch at the wall in the 9th inning. Austin Riley drove home the walk-off run on a pop fly. Chris Sale takes the mound tonight in the second game of the series. He'll face off against Paul Blackburn. First pitch is set for 7:15. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680 The Fan. And the Florida Panthers are your back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They defeated the Edmonton Oilers 5-1, taking the series in 6 games. The Panthers are the first team to win back-to-back Stanley Cups since the Tampa Bay Lightning. In the NBA Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder is leading the series against the Pacers 3-2. Tyrese Halliburton was injured Monday night with a right calf sprain. He returned to the game, but his status for Game 6 in Indiana on Thursday night is in question. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
All right, so we were talking about that great picture, you know, with the man from Truist Park holding the umbrella over the Marine's head, and Angela's found it, and it's so good, and it's such a great picture. Is it not such a moving picture?
It's stunning. I'm going to throw this up on Twitter so y'all can see. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, it'll melt your heart.
No doubt about it. So rain coming in, maybe you need to break out the umbrella for yourself. But the thing that rain causes is water in your house, especially if you have a roof leak or you need a roof repair. And I've not looked today, and forgive me, but I will here as we speak. About
scattered storms this afternoon.
That's exactly right. Now, I will say it's backed up. Saturday was going to be the first sunny day all this week, you know, without any chance of rain. They backed that up now Friday and Saturday, according to the weather app on my iPhone, which is where I get all my weather. You probably too. Scattered rain today, 55% chance of rain tomorrow. Rain is going to be all around. If you have a roof that has a leak, get it repaired. I've been telling you over and over. You know this. I don't need to tell you, but maybe I just need to remind you. Let me tell you the good news is that I've got the folks that can take care of that repair if it's just that one spot or several spots where it needs to be a complete roof replacement. That's Southern Exteriors, bringing quality and precision to every job right now. Take 10% off any project or choose 12 months, 0% financing. They are such good folks. Last night, as a matter of fact, Jason Albritton of Southern Exteriors threw out the first pitch at the Braves game. So cool for him. And I was so proud of him. I got to see the video, and he threw a strike. Nice work, dude. 877. This is who you're dealing with, Braves fans, just like you and I, people that grew up here in Georgia, people that do things the right way. 877-9-SOUTHERN or southernexteriors.co.
Gentlemen, listen up. When it's not hard, it's really hard. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 have some form of ED? It's true, and I'm one of them. ED followed me everywhere. Heck, even my initials are ED. I'm Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia, and I know ED. It can lead to feelings of embarrassment, stress, and sadness. But there's good news. I can fix it. I fixed mine, and I can fix yours too. At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, we are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, Trimix to create an erection, and more. Guys, ED won't get better on its own, but I can help you today. Call us at 404-777-1911. That's 404-777-1911, or learn about us more online at tbtofga.com. So take it from me, ED, Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Call 404-777-1911 or online at tbtofga.com.
A born leader never rests. The GLE SUV continues to advance its legacy with intuitive technology, rich refinement, and all-hybrid power, including a plug-in model. From safety to style, leadership is a GLE family value. Get an exceptional offer on the 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLE 350 SUV. Just $859 per month for 36 months with 6313 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the Mercedes-Benz Dream Days sales event. Visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through June 30th, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Hey, this is John Flading. I'm the president and owner of ATL Turf Co. We are a family-owned, operated, independent local company. We have over 15 years of artificial grass design, installation, and sales experience. From premium artificial lawns and backyards, custom putting greens, sports fields, hardscape, drainage. We do both residential and commercial. If you can dream it, we can build it. Just go to atlturfco.com to schedule an appointment.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. A political assassination leads to the largest manhunt in Minnesota state history. 57-year-old Vance Belter was arrested Sunday, 2 days after police say he gunned down Democratic State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband and shot and wounded State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota, Joe Thompson, says Belter went to the homes of 4 Minnesota state lawmakers with the intent to kill them, disguising himself as a police officer and banging on doors in the middle of the night. When police responded to the Hortman home, they saw a man dressed in body armor that shot at them and managed to get away. Authorities say Belter had a hit list of 45 elected officials, all Democrats. He allegedly surveilled his victims' homes and took notes. Belter is facing state and federal charges of murder, attempted murder, and other crimes. He's being held in federal custody. There's more on the story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays, anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
We talked about this yesterday, how the left hasn't outgrown the way they think from the 1800s. They've never left that behind, and we had a whole discussion of what they did during the Civil War with unpaid labor, slave labor, and what they're trying to do now, and the correlation between the two. Is a great article from The Spectator, I believe, is where I pulled that from. And we talked about just that mentality. Who's going to pick the cotton? Who's going to come mow the lawn? Who's going to come clean the house? And we had this woman out in California was like, I'm so mad at ICE. These ICE raids, they're anti-American. I mean, my house cleaner didn't show up. My friends are calling me and saying the people that take care of the yard ain't showing up. It's all about me.
Yes.
It's not that you care about those people. Yeah. You have no concern for them. It's about what they do for you, and I don't like that mentality. I can't stand that mentality, and it's so on display, as we discussed.
Oh, it's really gross. It's, well, who's going to do all these things I don't want to do?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, what about this permanent underclass that I was going to count on forever to live my life of luxury and privilege? It's nasty. And, totally is. You know, if there's any silver lining to this very sad situation, it's that finally they're saying it out loud.
We pointed this out yesterday, about 8:30 or so. Wanted to, because I thought maybe you'd be interested in this since we discussed it yesterday. Karen Bass, the mayor of L.A., she did it again. Who's going to pick the cotton? They just can't help themselves. Who's going to do the work?
These ICE raids will continue. I guess it's your understanding and taking it from you for another, 30 days.
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor, but
call it a rumor.
And so there's no communication at all with you all.
No.
So let's say they do continue for 30 more days. What is your biggest concern as you face the weeks to come?
Here we go.
You know, I was talking to someone who was telling me that they went to their local grocery store and the shelves were empty because there was nobody to stock the shelves. So my biggest fear is the impact that all Angelenos will begin to feel when the labor of immigrants is absent. We'll feel it in the construction industry. We'll feel it in hospitality. We'll feel it at grocery stores. People will begin to notice. You think about the mothers who have nannies and housekeepers. They will feel it when there's nobody to do childcare and there's nobody to take their kids to school. You know, you will feel it when your gardener goes away and you don't know where he or she is. So Angelenos will feel the absence of immigrant labor.
Not those immigrants have feelings and families. Not that those immigrants are value to us as human beings, but who's going to do your gardening? I mean, who's going to take your kids to school? I mean, when I think about it, I always took my own kid to school. Like, what am I missing here? Is there something that I'm missing that she's saying that's just out of my purview, out of my understanding of the way things in life happens? It just sounds so elitist.
It's a sick ideology, and I think elitist is exactly the right word. It's, oh no one can come in and take away the people who handle all my life tasks for me. It's really sad. And hey, if someone does need help with taking care of their kids,
sure,
or
I'm not condemning that at all.
Help around the house. If you need that help, pay someone here legally a fair wage that both of you agree to, that isn't based on this obscene power difference that's been perpetuated by an open border.
That's what gets overlooked oftentimes, I believe, is that conservatives, Republicans, have no problem with legal immigration at all. We're not condemning legal immigration. We're not condemning any of that. It's the illegal immigration that is the focus. But those two lines get very blurred, and especially in the discussion in mainstream media, they blur that line intentionally. They want you to think, oh, see, they don't like immigrants. That's the message they're trying to convey, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Immigrants don't like illegal immigration.
Right.
And the polling suggests that. The polling shows that. And just ask. They're not afraid to tell you. And if you need more evidence, if you need the end-all, be-all, just look at the way they voted. That'll tell you.
Exactly. There was a great clip you played for former President Obama yesterday where he goes, or maybe on Monday, but he says, we are a nation of immigrants, but we're also a nation of laws. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If Donald Trump were to say that today, leftists would be freaking out of, he's a dictator, he's this, he thinks he's a king. Right. No, we have rules here. Is there a worthwhile debate to be had about should those rules change? I think so, totally. That a visa lottery system isn't what we want.
No, I agree.
We should be granting visas to the best and brightest who are going to come here and make this country better. Not at random, not on a lottery system.
And I'm okay with them checking out the social media to make sure that they don't have a bunch of anti-American nonsense on their social media.
Completely.
Like I think we'd be smart to use that.
Yes.
We'd be smart to investigate who it is that we're allowing to come to the country. But come here legally. That's the thing. And that's not at all what Karen Bass said. That's not at all what she was insinuating. She sounds a whole lot like 1800s Democrats. The economy's going to crash. If we don't have our slave labor, the economy's going to crash.
That's right. How are we going to keep things running? You won't have food on the shelves. We won't do these jobs. Who? Me? Never. It's this look down your nose sense of, I'm going to be high and mighty under the guise of compassion.
Yeah, right.
Oh, but I'm so compassionate to let these people make a very dangerous journey here and pay them pennies on the dollar. I'm doing that because I'm such a good person.
That's right. Yeah, please.
Girl, what?
Yeah, nobody believes you. For a long time, the mainstream media had a grip on the message, and they could tell you what to think, and there wasn't a lot of outlets to get alternative points of view. CBS, ABC, NBC, when there was just 3 networks, all said the same things. And then when CNN rolls around and MSNBC, and then they're all a big conglomerate, and they're all sharing the exact same message, there was no way to get an alternative point of view. You probably felt differently than they did, and you're like, man, some of this doesn't add up. Now, other people like my Aunt Peg would have, she downloads it and regurgitates it, and it makes sense to her. even though it's wrong. Elon Musk saved the freedom of speech that we so cherish in the United States by freeing Twitter. Now I get news on Twitter, and now called X. I get it days before the mainstream media starts talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
And I get both sides. I can see both points of view, and I can decide for myself what is the best path forward. They don't hold that grip on information that they used to, because they used to be able to get away with this type of elitist thinking, this way that I'm so much better. And I'm like you. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care who you employ as long as they're legally. I don't care what you do. But don't try to convince me that you're compassionate because your gardener didn't show up.
Right.
Those don't equate. Those don't go together.
I'm a victim. I had to spread my own pine straw.
It was awful. You should have seen it. Could you believe I was out there?
The horror.
Did you see the dirt under my fingernails? I didn't have somebody to do it for me. And the people that did come, I had to pay them more. It was awful.
Tragedy.
The humanity. When we come back on Extra 106.3, the son of a former Shah of Iran, or the Shah of Iran, is promoting that best case scenario in Iran for Israel, for Iran, and for the United States of America, too. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
You probably already know that Colorado is one of the worst states when it comes to liberal idiocy and progressivism, or whatever they call it. But you ain't heard nothing yet. Listen to this. Colorado has a new law. Now you can't dead name people. What the hell does dead name mean? Well, I'll be the one to tell you. If you have a boy that decides he'd rather be a girl or vice versa, they will change their name. Maybe from Charles to Christina. And after they do that, if you call them Charles, you've committed a human rights violation. New Colorado law. The same goes for pronouns. Misgendering a tranny is now a punishable offense under Colorado law. They call this public accommodation protections. Not in your house, okay? Call them what you will. But out in public, restaurants, hotels, stores, whatever, you use whatever name these sickos tell you to use and whatever pronouns. And not only this, stop laughing now, okay? Sit down. The Colorado Civil Rights Commission can require you somehow to participate in mandatory education programs. I guess it's like community service. You call somebody who is a he but claims to be a she a him, and you can be ordered by a court to attend one of these re-education programs. Oh yeah, the lawsuits have already been filed. We'll see where it goes. But why? Why every time stupidity and idiocy like this surfaces, it's always Democrats. It's always progressives. When are we going to be totally fed up with these people? Way past time. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. The Molotov cocktail guy. They've arrested the scumbag Emiliano Garduno Galvez, illegal criminal alien from Mexico, is now being charged with attempted murder. The scumbag was deported, has a prior criminal record, and again, these are the people the liberals are trying to protect.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Israel made a huge mistake. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is what Iran's Ayatollah is saying today, warning that Israel will be punished. And
Iran's supreme leader sent a message over Iranian TV. He refused President Trump's demand for unconditional surrender and threatened irreparable consequences if the U.S. gets directly involved.
This after Israel attacked Iran again today, hitting nuclear and missile facilities and launchers as President Trump considers joining Israel, destroying Iran's capability to build nuclear weapons. Fox's Mike Tobin also reports from Tel Aviv.
Team of people here in central Israel were sent running for the bomb shelters in the middle of the night with more Iranian ballistic missile attacks. Two attacks came just after midnight local time. The IDF says that several missiles did get through, resulting in damage but no injury.
And as the president considers helping Israel and Iran, some in Congress believe that he has to wait for their authority.
Democratic Senator Tim Kaine insists that Congress must vote. The Constitution mandates that lawmakers decide if the nation goes to war.
How dare we ask people to make the ultimate sacrifice if we don't have the guts to have a debate and decide whether a war is in the interest of this country?
Some conservatives are skeptical of the president wading into a deeper conflict, but most Republicans give deference to President Trump, allowing him to act.
That's Fox's Chad Pergam at the Capitol. In the Senate next hour, the first Republican-led hearing into President Biden's mental fitness while in office and if his administration covered up a cognitive decline. Senate Republicans have made some changes to the House-passed Big Beautiful Bill that funds President Trump's agenda, including extending tax cuts set to expire. But some House Republicans don't like the changes. Congressman Mike Lawler tells Fox Business he cannot support undoing the increase in the House version to state and local tax deductions for taxpayers.
This is an important component to the deal, and my colleagues, whether they like it or not, have to accept it.
He says if the increase is removed, he'll vote against the whole bill. America's listening to Fox News.
Quiet down. Here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Want weather? Grab your phone. Need traffic? Grab your phone. Conservative news and talk, also on your phone. Get the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra on Extra 106.3. Los back on Monday. Angela Morabito filling in. Angela was the press secretary for the Department of Education under the first Trump term, has great experience in D.C., and we're so glad that she's taken the time this week to get up really, really early and to come in and talk about the things that matter in America. I want to get out to Roswell Tim real quick. He is jumping in on the conversation that we're having about the way the Democrats look at about immigrants and Americans, and I think definitely conservatives are welcoming of people that want to be here, that want to contribute to the fabric of America. It's those who do it the wrong way, those that come illegally, that we have issue. Roswell Tim, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I have a good friend of mine that coordinates the field crews that pick vegetables for about 20,000 acres down on a big corporate farm in rural South Georgia.
Wow, right on.
And when that first started, I believe it was under Obama, the farmers were concerned about being able to harvest because those vegetables, they can't machine pick them. They have to be hand picked, most of them. Well, they have what they call an H-2A work.
Right, I'm familiar with that. Uh-oh, I think we've lost Roswell Tim.
All of the benefits, and they get plenty of workers. They bring about 15,000 people in every summer during the harvest season.
Right. Yeah, so
they're out there. It's just a matter of doing it legally instead of illegally.
Right, absolutely. Get out of the habit of doing it the wrong way and do it the right way. This is what I think you're suggesting, which I think is really smart. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's not hard to comprehend. It's not hard to understand.
Of course. And the left will tell you it's impossible. It just can't be done. So, Tim, I so appreciate your perspective on, yes, it can be done legally, and it should be.
If you choose to do it that way. Are there extenuating circumstances? Are there situations where it may be more difficult than others? Absolutely. But if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. I think most people would agree with that. Tug and Los until 10 here on Extra 106.3. I want to talk to you about Reza Pahlavi. He is the son of the Shah of Iran that was overthrown in 1979. We had a caller earlier talking about if Jimmy Carter would have been a president worth his salt, he probably could have helped and that not happen. And now we have this dictatorship in the Middle East, one of the biggest countries in the Middle East, that is just run by an absolute dictatorship. Angela had a funnyism earlier a couple days ago when you called it a dictatorship with an extra step.
That's right. There's some window dressing on it.
Yeah, right. But I want you to hear what he says, because I think this is what Donald Trump is trying to foster in the Middle East. He wants the Iranian people. I believe he wants the Iranian people, and I believe that's the way he's positioning it, and the pressure that he's using. He wants the Iranian people to reclaim their independence, their freedom from this dictatorship. And I think it's kind of echoed here in the Shah's son.
همیهنانه جمهوری اسلامی به پایان خود رسیده و در حال سقوط است. خامنه‌ای
So what he's saying there is, it is time. Our freedom is waiting. Our freedom is there for the taking. You know, the regime is falling. The regime is crumbling. That's essential. I wanted you to hear him in his own words so you kind of got an idea of what it sounded like when the Iranian people heard it. And they interpret it. And you're seeing it, Angela. We've talked about how many people are celebrating these attacks from the Israelis on the Iranians, not because they don't love their country, because they don't love their dictatorship that they have to live under.
Yeah, I think it's because they do love their country and they're trying to save it from this brutal dictator who's been in power for far too long. Reza Pahlavi knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that people remember when his family was in power prior to 1979, and he knows that his words carry a lot of weight over there.
Absolutely.
If you ask the average American who is Reza Pahlavi, they're probably not going to know
the answer.
Every single Iranian will know,
yeah.
and more Americans should know. And I think that's a wonderful message to say. Without saying Israel, he's saying Israel's opened the door for you. You have a generational opportunity. Go secure your freedom.
Is it frightening? Yes. Is it dangerous? Yes. Look at the American Revolution. I mean, it was a bloody battle, and people lost their lives, and people were injured and maimed. But in the end, what they did was set up the greatest country that's ever existed on the face of the earth. And they gave us the roadmap to our freedom. And I think that's what the Iranian people want. And I really do believe that Donald Trump, the messaging that he's using, I think that's what he's trying to foster, that environment, so the Iranians are like, we're done with this.
Mm-hmm.
We see what the Israelis are giving us, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We played the British politician that said 13 years ago that this was coming, and that all the countries in the Middle East would be saying, thank God that the Israelis are doing this. We can't allow Iran to continue to do what they're doing. It's like he had a crystal ball or something. Douglas Murray, I believe his name was.
Yes.
And he did nail it. And I think all those Middle Eastern countries, the Saudis, the Syrians, I think everybody is saying, thank God that the Israelis are doing what they're doing. And I think right now, the only people, it's funny, I think everybody's in for that. I think everybody believes that. With the exception of French President Macron, he's warning against regime change in Iran. He's saying, no, that's not the best thing. Now, you must know that the French hosted the Ayatollah Khomeini in a mansion for years. France flew him to Iran in 1979. So it seems like if anybody can get it wrong, it's the French. But I think everybody else understands the importance of what's happening and the moment that we have in front of us.
Yeah, I don't know what Macron is thinking other than just, I wouldn't take advice from the French on anything military.
Especially militarily, because they're usually instead of saying charge, they say cut and run. I mean, that's what they do.
I take advice from them on wine for sure.
Yeah, they got that down pat.
Food and wine, art,
Yeah.
Culture, that kind of thing. Not going to listen to them when it comes to Iran. Not going to listen. But I think the Iranians aren't listening to them. I think the Iranians are very well attuned, though, to what President Trump is saying, including that the U.S. knows the location of the Ayatollah.
You're talking about scare tactic?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that they do. I believe that that's the truth.
Totally.
Mossad is on the ground. They are going door to door in many cases in those big apartment complexes that the Iranian military and government personnel lives. so they know exactly where people are. I do believe that we do know that. But I think Donald Trump's using it for a different reason, to scare the living daylights out of the Ayatollah. I believe that's what he's doing.
I think that, and I think also he's telling the Iranians, who can now see that message because they now have Starlink, thanks to Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, that's right.
They're going to see that and think, okay, this guy's about to be taken out.
Yeah,
out of power for sure,
time.
maybe out of this planet as well. We don't know how that's going to shake out.
I'd be all right with either one.
I think they would too. And President Trump is signaling to them there's going to be a regime change. If you want it,
yeah,
it's sitting there waiting for you.
That's right. And I'm in favor of the United States supporting Israel, supporting those Iranians on the ground that are willing to take their freedom in their own hands. And I don't mean like give them weapons per se, but I'm just saying supporting them in their effort to liberate their own country.
Yes.
I think that's a really, really good thing. I don't want U.S. boots on the ground, which I don't think Donald Trump would ever approve. I don't think the Congress would ever approve. The House or the Senate, I don't think they would be in favor of it. I don't think anybody's in favor of that. The only debate really is, do we take out Fordo? That's the only debate that's really gaining any traction at all. Do we either A, give the Israelis the ability with the actual bomb, do we give them that and let them do it? Or do we do it ourselves? That is the question. I gotta tell you, I don't know. I'm 60-40 no, to be honest with you. Completely honest with you. I'm 60-40 no, don't do that. Stay out of this. But if Donald Trump were to get in front of the nation and say, here's why, I do believe his gut instinct is good. I believe he's still talking about peace, even through this deteriorating situation in Iran, where the people in Iran, the government is at its weakest point. I still believe that his gut instinct is to foster peace, and that's what he continues to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think that garners actually support from other Arab nations as well.
I think so too, that they know the United States is not in there to cause chaos. We're involved in whatever capacity we may be to do the opposite and to bring peace to the region, but a stable peace, not a peace that is based on a vicious dictatorship.
That's exactly right. So we'll have to see how all this plays out. 404-741-1230. What do you think? What do you want to see happen? Do you want to see us get rid of Fordo? Do you want to see us use those bunker buster bombs to end that nuclear site that the Iranians have? Or do you wish that we would take maybe a backseat on this and just let it play out the way it is? Because I think that's what Donald Trump's trying to do right now. I'm not saying ultimately that we won't be involved in some way or other, but I hope we're not. Where do you fall on this? I would love to hear your point of view. I would love to hear what you're doing. When it comes to here in America, Donald Trump's polling numbers continue to be really, really positive. And I think it's because real wages have gone up. I think it's because people see that America, for the first time in 20 years, is on the right path, and the polling numbers back that up. And it's interesting because I'm always so reluctant to rely on polling numbers, because most of the time they're from liberal outlets that are going to slant the polling in some way or other.
Right.
But even those slanted numbers still show the American people supporting Donald Trump, and still support the American people saying, yes, I feel like we're on the right path.
This is, I think, the biggest story that next to no major outlets are covering.
Yeah.
You don't hear about this. And of course you don't, because they don't want to report good news for the president and for the administration
They're
that's
physically
in charge.
pulling against America and Americans
Yes.
with that stance.
But Americans can't miss it. Everybody knows when you go grocery shopping, when you look for a new home, a new car, like, these are not issues that we can stay blind to. The rest of us are going to figure it out, and we have. That the economy is finally starting to turn the corner here, we hope. And I predict the next consumer confidence numbers we see will be much stronger because the tariff negotiations are seeming to work.
Yeah, that's right. And real wages continue to grow under Donald Trump. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, shared this chart that shows why Americans trust Donald Trump, and why I think you're right with those next polling numbers about consumer confidence will be positive. And it'll be positive on most every other issue that America faces. Wages up, inflation down, costs are down. And everybody said it was going to happen the opposite way. And I'll say it again because I believe it to be true, that those in the mainstream media and those Democrats are cheering against you. They're cheering against me. And it's maybe not because they hate you and I. Now, they think less of us because we voted for Donald Trump. They will very openly tell you that. They'll call you every name in the book. I don't know that they hate us like they hate Donald Trump, but they hate the fact that he's being successful. So they are physically and actively pulling against him, hoping that his failure will take place. They want him to fail. And when they want him to fail, that means that you're going to fail. I don't know that they equate the two. Maybe they do. I don't know that they equate the two. They just hate him so much, so blindly, that they're willing to pull against you and I, and they're willing to pull against America just to see him fail.
Oh, completely. And it was, when these tariffs hit, you won't be able to afford anything. The shelves will be bare. You're going to pay for this. You're going to suffer because you voted for Trump. Well, that hasn't happened. And I think that there are some on the left who probably feel a little let down by that.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
They're saying you have to face the consequences of your actions. What they're missing is these are the consequences of this administration. Right. They're making things better. The left just doesn't want to admit it.
Real blue-collar wage growth is the chart that Secretary Bessent shared. And it showed that under Richard Nixon, real wages for blue-collar workers grew. It was flat during Carter. It was down during Reagan. It was down during Bush. It was down during Clinton, down during W. Bush. It was down during Obama. Trump comes into office, it goes up 1.3%. Biden down 1.7%. Now that Trump's back in office again, wage growth up 1.7% again. And Scott Bessent's point is America First policy, real wages for hourly workers up nearly 2% in 5 months. Can you imagine? If all the things that weren't going on in the world were happening and he could solely focus on the economy, how great it would be. But look, that's pretend world. That's never going to happen. But look what he's doing positively for you and me and America as all this is happening. Yeah. He's balancing all this at one time. And again, I will say it for the record, I don't worship at the altar of Trump. But I do believe his heart is America first, and he believes it, and his actions represent it.
I think that's true. And the proof is in the pudding. Every 4th of July, I think Fox News comes out with this is how much your barbecue costs. This is what it costs to get a burger or a hot dog or ketchup or a beer.
Or whatever.
All of the above. And they sort of tally up the cost of your 4th of July cookout. This year, I will be fascinated to see what it says. Because the predictions were the sky is falling.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure. The Chicken Little angle.
You went through that list of presidents so fast. That is incredible that over 40 years of either flat or going down.
That's right.
And now Trump's been able to turn it around.
Both terms.
1.3%
in his first term. And think about the things that were happening in that first term. How many people were actively against him in his own administration, in his own cabinet, and was able to be successful. Now, fast forward, you stole an election from him, I believe. And I think most people believe now it's hard not to. It's hard not to believe that something happened. But whatever. Let's say Joe Biden won it on the up and up. Donald Trump is out of office. Those wages go down 1.7%. He's back in office. 5 months later, they've gone up 1.7%. The man knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Get out of his way, and he will help you be successful. He will drag you kicking and screaming, as we laugh and joke about, across the finish line.
And the Democrats are so perplexed as to who would vote for Donald Trump. It's that middle class that has been forgotten about for the last 40 or 50 years. They are seeing the benefits of having Trump in office.
And the funny thing is about the left and the Democrats, it was they were always considered the blue-collar worker party. That was their bread and butter. And then they actively said, we no longer support white blue-collar workers, specifically men. We don't care about them.
Yep.
We do not care about them at all. And now they come begging and screaming and groveling back because everybody that they did invest in are now seeing how poor that their policies and their ideas are, that even though they catered to them, minorities and women and older voters, they see the failures of the left, and they voted for Donald Trump, too. It's crazy to see the people that they catered to don't even support them anymore, and especially white men who they obviously left behind intentionally definitely don't.
Because dependence isn't what anyone dreams of, at least not what anyone should dream of. I keep coming back to this moment. This is a real throwback in the run-up to the 2016 election, where then candidate Trump looked at an audience that was majority black and said, what do you have to lose? The people who have promised you the world have given you nothing. Trump is just saying, I'm going to free things up and we'll see what happens. And what happens is prosperity.
I'm going to foster an environment that you can do well with your gifts and talent that God's given you. That's what I'm giving you the opportunity to do. And people responded to it and listened to it and voted for him overwhelmingly.
And it works. It's working
works.
5 months in.
And we see it working. That's exactly right. Dr. Rich McCormick, he is actually my representative in North Fulton. But U.S. representative here on the Morning Extra next. Can't wait to talk to him, obviously being a veteran himself, what he thinks about what's happening in Iran today, what he thinks the end goal will be, what he thinks Donald Trump will be and do. We'll talk to Dr. McCormick, U.S. Representative, next on Extra 106.3.
Listen to the Morning Extra, The Kimmer Show, Neil Bortz, and all your favorite Extra 106.3 personalities whenever you want with the all-new Extra app. It's anytime show replays, all your favorite podcasts, and the latest political news from across Georgia. Download the Extra 106.3 app now for Apple or Android.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Echo Power Equipment. Now, right now, if you look outside, it's bright sunshine. But you know it's also been raining, like every single day. And that has turned my lawn into just a crazy place. I've got to take care of it on a regular basis. It's time for you to tackle that lawn, okay? Like you're dealing with it, I'm dealing with it. You got to get after it. And what better way to do that than with Echo Power Equipment? Whether you need, let's say, a trimmer, or maybe you got a significant yard. Maybe you need a chainsaw, or you just need a blower or an edger. Echo has all of that equipment, and you can find it over at Howard Brothers as well. Get geared up at any one of the 7 locations, or you can go over to howardbrothers.com to check out their entire line of Echo Power Equipment. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Echo and with Howard Brothers.
The warm air, the beautiful weather, and the sounds of baseball. It's got you thinking about hitting the road. And no matter where your adventures take you, Subaru of Gwinnett has a vehicle to get you there safely and in style. Like the 2025 Subaru Outback, which will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 32 miles per gallon. And if you're up for adventure, it'll get you off the beaten path with up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. More than the Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4 or the 2025 Subaru Forester, the SUV for all you love. It's the right-sized SUV for all the adventures ahead with a spacious and comfortable interior for everyone you want to bring along. And no matter where adventure takes you, it starts on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth with the amazing staff at Subaru of Gwinnett. They'll help you find the Subaru that you'll love and be there every step of the way for everything you need. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
There's a tidal wave of clean car happiness sweeping across Braves country. Tidal Wave Auto Spa is your go-to car wash destination for a game day ready ride. Experience Major League Clean at Tidal Wave, the official car wash of the Atlanta Braves. Stay clean car happy all season long with membership discounts, exclusive giveaways, and more. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com/Braves for details.
My car is happy. I am happy. Tidal Wave Auto Spa.
A golf instructor who knows technique can improve an aspiring pro's swing. But one who really cares can help transform a career.
There he is, your new champion.
When you team up with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Software Engineer 2 positions offered by Warner Media Services, LLC in Atlanta, Georgia. Develop and maintain back-end software solutions across multiple domains. Continuously leverage new technology to build immersive and interactive viewing experiences. Develop solutions that balance innovation, quality, delivery time, and align with business strategy. Write clean and documented code and quality tests. Hybrid work schedule. Submit resume to wbdi@wbd.com. Reference job ID 8452041.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Marietta City Council approved a plan for a 31-acre data center campus to be built on Bells Ferry Road. City staff said the data center will generate significant tax revenue for both the city of Marietta and the Marietta school system. Planned development will house 2 buildings, a substation, and a detention pond to manage runoff rainwater. Atlanta-based movie mogul Tyler Perry is being sued for $260 million. Actor Derek Dixon is accusing Perry of sexual harassment, assault, and retaliation. The lawsuit filed in Los Angeles says Dixon first met Perry while working at Perry's studios in Atlanta. And Ackworth police officers are being commended for their compassion and attentiveness. Officers LaFave and Hatcher helped locate a missing North Carolina man with dementia during a traffic stop Sunday night. The officers noticed the man's distress and found that he was reported missing after a records check. He was transported to Kennestone for treatment, and his family was notified. Today's weather, partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Temperatures will reach the high 80s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. Get 10% off or 12 months, 0% financing, windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, anything to the exterior of your home that they can take care of for you, they will. And they're based here in Georgia, over 200,000 jobs under their belt. 8779-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co is their website. Dr. Rich McCormick, who represents Georgia's 7th District in the U.S. House of Representatives, joins us on the Morning Extra. Dr. McCormick, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's good to be with you this morning.
It is always a pleasure to have you. I'm going to start out with something a little more light because it's just been such a heavy news week, and that is I thought it was great seeing you working out with the folks at the University of North Georgia up in Dahlonega, working out with those cadets up there. Nice work, sir.
They're studs. I got to tell you, I used to make fun of the Army all the time when I was in the Marines about their PT, about their fitness, and they have turned it around. I am so impressed. They approach it scientifically. The girls and the guys are both just phenomenal athletes, and they really poured on. They have the right attitude and the right design for the fitness program. I feel like the Army's future is bright.
No question about it, and recruiting is through the roof. You see that, and that's so encouraging after 4 years of recruiting, missing goals after goals after goals in every branch. I was Navy myself, so I love seeing the return of our men and women raising their hands, especially at the parade over the weekend. So many people giving their oath to the United States and to the Constitution, led by the president. It's pretty impressive to see that, isn't it?
It was, and I was right there in the stands right next to the president and watched that, and it made my heart swell. As a matter of fact, the first tank that rolled by, one of the tankers made the heart sign over his heart to the president, and a bunch of people said happy birthday as they're marching by. It was pretty cool. I mean, to see that kind of thing, people say, oh, we don't do that here in America. Well, first of all, we do air shows all the time, and in France they do a military parade. And if France can do that, we can certainly do that. And it was patriotic, and it's a great recruiting tool. And there was nothing negative about it. It was nothing about showing how anything that's other than just pride in something that's good.
Yes, sir. Dr. Rich McCormick, 7th District Representative in the House of Representatives, joining us on the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. Tug Cowart, Carlos Medina, usually here, but he's on vacation. Angela Morabito in for Front Office Los. So now to the heavier news. With Israel and Iran, I would love to get your point of view there. I don't want the American military to be involved. Definitely not boots on the ground. I would like for us to foster a great environment for the Israelis to continue what they're doing and maybe give the Iranians the environment so they can capture their own future. They can make their own decision about what their future looks like in that country. Where do you stand on that, Dr. McCormick?
Well, I think what you just named is the populist view. I think most Americans don't want to see American troops involved directly. I certainly am I think it would be a bad precedent to to start a war with a country that hasn't overtly declared war on us and hasn't overtly directly challenged us militarily. But I will say that we have had Americans die because of Iranian weapons produced and disseminated to the Hezbollah, Houthis,
yes, sir.
Hamas. They've been waging a war against us for decades, and they've had state-sponsored terrorism around the world, including against many of our friends and allies. But to your point, I don't want to see us put more American lives on the line to take care of this. I think Israel is doing an admirable job. They have to. And here's what those isolationists probably need to hear. There's people out there, both for the Republicans and the Democrats, who don't think we should be in this war at all, not even supporting Israel in any way, shape, or form. And I make the case, well, first of all, the Democrats, because a lot of them are pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas.
Sure.
Really horrible organizations which would actually kill them, ironically, if they were to become more powerful. But for the Republicans, they're isolationists. I will say this. We are the great Satan to Iran.
Yes.
They've stated it openly. Anybody who thinks that we can devoid ourselves of this conflict doesn't understand what this conflict is about. This is a fundamental question of a theocracy run by very religious zealots who believe that anybody who's not them should be eliminated. And we represent the worst of all sorts, someone who represents freedom and the capacity to govern yourself. All the things our Constitution is based off are contrary to their entire society and their existence. They have said they're going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, and they want nuclear arms to do it with. It's the easy way. They have tons of 60% enriched uranium, which can only be used for, well, I should say, is specifically for the use of nuclear weapons. And they were there. They were ready to make those into weapons, and that's why Israel had to act, because they kept on sponsoring terrorism against them. They wanted to literally wipe them off the face of the earth, and because now they have this close to nuclear weapons, they had no choice at this point.
Good morning, Dr. McCormick. I'm so excited to have you with us because this is the opposite of a slow news week, right? We have the immigration news that's breaking across the country. And I've been hearing some conflicting things. I want to get your perspective because I've seen announcements saying, well, the ICE raids aren't going to target the agriculture and hospitality industries. I'm seeing the ICE raids are going to target specific cities. Where are we going to go? What is your take on this? What should be first priority as the Trump administration tries to right the ship on immigration after Biden and Harris dropped the ball for 4 years? Where do you think they should, start in terms of enforcing the law that's gone unenforced for so long?
Well, I think we've been pretty clear, and we kind of got a little bit off the rails, but we wanted to start with the criminal element. We have a ton, probably over 1 million people who are here, not just illegally, but drunk driving, creating petty crimes, or actually child trafficking. I mean, we have tens of thousands of children that are missing from when Biden allowed them in here without parents or with parents that were not related to those children, and then this disappeared. I mean, we literally participated in assisting in child trafficking because of our border policy. The drug dealers that came in here, we have over 100,000 people died pretty much per year for the last several years from fentanyl smuggled across the southern border. We have so many massive problems, but there is also an element of people who've been here for up to 30 years or even longer than that who have decided to assimilate and to create jobs and to pay taxes and to follow the rules. And we have to deal with that. The impact of those people in this society has been very positive. And Teddy Roosevelt talked about this probably 100 years ago. He talked about the immigration problem. He said, look, for those people who will come here and assimilate, become Americans first, not wave around some of the cut flag, not talk about dominating American society or impacting in some negative way, but people who come here to want to be Americans, to participate, they should have a pathway to citizenship. Now, you have to do it legally, and I don't want to ever encourage anybody coming across the southern border illegally. As a matter of fact, we need to right-size our immigration policy to fit America's needs. It's actually good for us because we're a shrinking society. We have a negative birth rate now, and we have a ton of jobs that are created when the economy's humming like it's starting to right now. We're getting close to 4% increase in growth, which we're going to need more people. And so we need to right-size each industry, whether it be agricultural, IT, healthcare, you name it. And we have so many different industries, hotels. They're going to need people. And we're going to need people for the military, for that matter, too. We want good Americans in America, and that's where we need to start, is get rid of the people we know are negative to our society who came here illegally, and then we need to address the people who came here illegally but have tried their very best to assimilate and figure out what to do that would be maybe pay a penalty, maybe try to figure out a way to become a citizenship if it makes sense. That's the tougher one because we don't want to reward people who have broken the law.
That's right. You don't want to encourage it moving into the future. And I don't think the American people have an appetite for a big amnesty, for people that have come here and broken the law. I do believe we had a caller the other day that runs a construction company. Her name was Jennifer. She talked about some of the people that you described, people that really genuinely love the country and want to be a part of the American fabric, which I think most people would say, okay, I can see that, I can understand that, but there is a concern when it comes to finding out who is like who falls into that category, who is the person that we know that is doing the right thing. And again, I'm not for amnesty. There needs to be you can't just go unpunished. It can't go unpunished. But I don't know what that looks like. But then the other part of the equation, Dr. McCormick, as we talked to Rich McCormick representing Georgia's 7th District on the Morning Extra, is the numbers, the math doesn't work. We talked about it on this show a million times. They let, 15 million people in, and we've arrested 100,000. It would take 200 years to get everybody who was let in illegally out. Though I'm not in favor of amnesty, I understand why you're bringing that perspective up, and I believe that it's a good debate to have.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm encouraging amnesty in any way, shape, or form. But for those people who are following laws, those people, and maybe they never get citizenship, but they pay a fine, we discuss their merits of being here. We certainly continue to lock down the border.
Yes, sir.
Anybody who's come in during this basically free period of time, they're seeking amnesty basically on political things that are happening in their country, but they've forgotten this remain in Mexico, where you can't just skip over a bunch of other countries that are safe to live in to get to America just because you want to. That should be also addressed. But quite frankly, the way that Biden did it was the worst possible way you could do it.
No question.
We had 2 million of them he had such a ridiculous argument. He said, no, these are undocumented migrants. First of all, they're well documented. He sent a record number of border agents down to document as they came in the United States. And then 2 million on top of that came in here, did not want to even request amnesty, but to get away without being documented. Those are the ones I really worry about, because those are your potential terrorists and drug dealers and child traffickers and people who would do us harm. So that is a very disturbing figure, and they're sponging off our society. Meanwhile, but we can fix all this. We can get back to digital ID. There's a lot of Democrats that want to have that. We can have great accountability, make sure that you can't get money from the government if you're here illegally. And that would, in large part, fix the problem, quite frankly.
Yeah, and the thing that I think, Dr. McCormick, that is the best about where we are in America as far as conservatives and Republicans is that we can have this discussion. The tent's big enough to have opposing ideas and opposing views on how to fix it, what to do about it, but we're able to have a civil conversation and even disagree slightly in places and maybe even disagree greatly in other places. And yet we're able to have that discussion. The left does not have that ability.
That is the best point of all. I love how you just approach that, because if you think about it, if everybody in a church agrees with each other, what do we call that?
Yeah,
a cult.
Cult. Right.
Yes, sir. Cult. And so I don't like it when Republicans especially say, oh, if you're not this, then you're a rhino. Well, first of all, I'm probably one of the most conservative members of Congress. I'm one of 30, probably the most conservative members of Congress. But I don't call people rhinos. I don't call people names, because if you're in my church, I'm happy you're in my church. I need you in my church to have the majority. And quite frankly, I can't make you more conservative by calling you names.
Right.
I can't convert you by punching you in the face. And this idea that we have to be mean-spirited to people who disagree with us is contrary to everything we know that it's effective in persuasion. Anybody who's been in a marriage knows that you can't win an argument. But if you can convince somebody that you love them, then you can talk to them about anything and be persuasive. And that's what we need to get back to in our approach to politics.
Dr. McCormick, you bring up such a great point about the war of public opinion and how it gets fought like a war when in reality it should be this friendly conversation. And I think we've seen this at the dawn of the second Trump administration, where he scored some really big wins on the economy, and yet he's not getting a lot of credit. Tug was mentioning that real wage growth is up, grocery prices are coming down, gas prices are fairly stable, at least better than they were during the past administration. And yet President Trump doesn't seem to get a lot of credit. Why do you think that is?
Because of politics, because of the media cycle, because of what they want to be for the future. If you think about the people who are supporting the Democratic Party right now, there is a variety. There are some moderates, there's some people who are left over, some yellow dog Democrats, but a lot of them believe in the government more than they believe in God. They literally think that the government should be the authority on what's moral and what's not, whether your business can open or close, who you hire, who you fire, what your medical decisions are, what you get to do for travel. That is the real crux of the issue. Do you believe in the government or do you believe in people? And I would say that the ultimate minority is the individual, and that's what our Constitution is designed to protect. Your rights given to you by God, not by a government, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Amen.
People think that Trump is a king. My gosh.
What?
He's doing just the opposite. He's
Silly.
deregulating.
Yeah, it's so silly.
He's giving you back your life.
That's exactly right. And the people that were out there with the No Kings marches as we get ready to wrap up with Dr. Rich McCormick representing Georgia's 7th District, those people were okay with Biden as a president and having no idea what was going on, a board of directors, if you will, running that administration, then anointing Kamala Harris without any sort of primary. Those are the people that are saying no king. The addition doesn't work. The things they're saying make no sense, Dr. McCormick. And I think you're exactly right. Those people they've got a lot of soul searching to do before they're ever going to connect with the American people again to even consider voting for them.
That's a fact. When you try to give away $500 million in loans given to you on good faith from the other Americans that didn't even go to college, when you take people's rights away to travel, to open your business, when you use the IRS against you or the FBI against you as a weapon of the government rather than a aid to the people, that's the kind of tyrant that's worrisome, and that's what the Democrats have been embracing. So Trump is just the opposite of that.
That's exactly right, Dr. Rich McCormick. Thank you so much. Here's the thing. I think I'll leave you with this, and I don't think I need to tell you, but I think it's good for people to hear is I don't always agree with Donald Trump, and I'm okay with that. Do I agree with him most of the time? Yeah, I do. And do I think he's got America's interest at heart, America's best interest at heart? The answer is absolutely yes. And I love the fact that I have a president now that I feel like loves the country the way I love the country. That's what I'm most proud of.
Amen. Semper Fi. I couldn't have said it better. I wish you guys a phenomenal week and appreciate being on your show.
Yes, sir. Always welcome. Dr. Rich McCormick, Georgia's 7th District Representative, a guy that represents me in North Fulton and Front Office Los up in North Forsyth here on the Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3. When we continue, the reason Gavin Newsom can never be president, according to a stand-up comic, and he's so right about it. Get ready to a little laugh. I know the news is heavy. We'll send you out on a laugh before we get to the Glenn Beck program next on Xtra 106.3.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Wednesday, June 18th. The Braves beat the Mets 5-4 in extra innings last night. Ronald Acuna Jr. got on base 5 times and made a spectacular catch at the wall in the 9th inning. Austin Riley drove home the walk-off run on a pop fly. Chris Sale takes the mound tonight in the second game of the series. He'll face off against Paul Blackburn. First pitch is set for 7:15. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, 680 The Fan. And the Florida Panthers are your back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They defeated the Edmonton Oilers 5-1, taking the series in 6 games. The Panthers are the first team to win back-to-back Stanley Cups since the Tampa Bay Lightning. In the NBA Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder is leading the series against the Pacers 3-2. Tyrese Halliburton was injured Monday night with a right calf sprain. He returned to the game, but his status for Game 6 in Indiana on Thursday night is in question. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
You need a pre-owned car or truck, but you don't need the headache of searching for one. Spending hours calling dealerships, then spending half the day filling out paperwork.
Come on.
You need the Honest Car Guy.
Hey, this is Tom from the Honest Car Guy. We help you buy your next pre-owned car or truck honestly. We guarantee each vehicle we sell will come with a copy of the bill of sale, showing what we paid for it. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee. Guaranteed.
Get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME-1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
The future of business in Georgia is bright, and Georgia Power is a driving force behind the businesses and organizations that are vital to the growth of the state. Just ask Brandon Hutchison, Executive Vice President and General Manager of Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Make no mistake about it, we're big customers of Georgia Power. It really is a true partnership. We've ran NASCAR's highest level of racing. In the early days of Atlanta Motor Speedway, Atlanta International Raceway, as it were, they raced twice a year, and that was about it. And then we started figuring out that this is an 850-acre campus that can do so much more. And it's not just the larger events that impact the region. It's the local events that really impact our community. It's a big responsibility for us to be such a big player in our community. And there's no doubt that Georgia Power has fan experience front of mind all the time.
To learn more about how Georgia Power is helping businesses big and small, visit GeorgiaPower.com and tune in all year to discover how they're powering the future of Georgia.
There are nut jobs on the road. Who knows where they learn to drive? If one of them hits you, don't take care of it on your own. Call my friend David Van Sant, 855-GA-INJURY. Van Sant Law, one of Georgia's top-rated personal injury lawyers and car accident firms. Time is of the essence. Don't waste any. The longer you wait to get the right lawyer, the longer it takes to get the compensation you deserve. Call Van Sant Law today. The number is 855-GA-INJURY. VanSantLaw.com.
The older I get, the more I think about trust. I think about the people in my life who have my trust and earned my trust, and the trust that I have placed in some people who I later learned abused that trust. I know we're alike in that way. We don't trust a lot of people anymore. It's like we're all Ronald Reagan, trust but always verify to make sure we're not making a mistake. I find it a little exhausting, quite honestly, and that's why I started realestateagentsitrust.com. I didn't have good experiences with buying and selling my homes. So we built Real Estate Agents I Trust to introduce you to one of the thousands of agents all over the country that we work with that we have verified that they will help you have the most successful and good real estate transaction possible. Our network agents share our sensibilities, have great track records, are good and decent people, and I trust them to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're moving across town or across the country, visit realestateagentsitrust.com. The name says it all, realestateagentsitrust.com.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Now, I know there are plenty of HVAC companies out there, but let me tell you why Central Heating and Air Conditioning stands out from the rest. These days, it's hard to tell who's on first. Everybody wants to play. Many of the local HVAC companies, though, have been sold to large conglomerates. And some are even coming back under new names. But at Central Heating and Air Conditioning, they never left the field. They've been your hometown team since 1947. And their dedication to our community has never wavered. They are the grand slam you can count on. Central's team of experts know the game inside and out, delivering dependable service and personalized solutions every time. So don't get caught off base. Choose the HVAC team that's always been in the game. Get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. Turn to your Atlanta Carrier experts, Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today, 770-GET-HEAT, or visit them online at centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
The Democrats want the federal government to stop arresting illegal criminals. Criminals who are here illegally.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3. Angela Morabito in for Front Office Los for the week. Great conversation with Dr. Rich McCormick. I feel like we were able to have a discussion, and I think that's really an important thing, and that he agreed with, that we don't always have to agree on everything. He's got a stance on immigration that I didn't, when I heard him say it, I was like, it sounds an awful lot like amnesty. I'm hoping that's not what you're referring to. And he said, no, that's not, but there has to be some process. And I understand what he's saying, because the math doesn't work. Los and I have talked about this a bunch of times, that if you let 20 million people in, 15 million people in, and so far in 5 months, we've got 100,000 people arrested, not deported, but arrested. That's 200 years before you get it. So logically, you have to, it's not necessarily what you want to happen. But at the same time, you can't change the numbers. It is a reality that we're up against.
There are no easy answers,
That's
not
right.
on immigration and not on the Israel-Iran conflict.
That's
and
right.
I really liked his perspective on
Yeah,
that.
me too.
We can put America first and still be a great ally to Israel, as
That's
Israel
right.
has been a great ally to us.
He seemed to allude to me that he would be open to using those bunker busters on Iran, on that nuclear site. He was 100% with us, no boots on the ground at all. But from the way I heard him answer, and him being a veteran and a Marine veteran, that he would be okay. And I'm not putting words in his mouth, I hope. That's what I gathered from his statement, that yes, he wants us to stay supportive, definitely. But if it came down to it, that he may want to authorize that, to be able to take out that, which I know there's plenty of people who feel that way. And I'm not 100% opposed to it. Like I said, I'm like 60-40. Boots on the ground, I'm 0.0%.
I am with you there for sure.
When it comes to the bunker busting bomb, my inclination is no. But if Donald Trump said this is what we have to do, then I would fall in line. I think I would support Donald Trump. And I know I would support Donald Trump, because I know the one thing I'm certain about, one thing I'm confident about, is that Donald Trump his default is peace. And then after that, he's doing something because he feels like it is the best path for America and American interests, which I'm in support of as well. He's got intel that I don't. He's got a national security team around him that I don't. So though I'm 60-40, if he said this is the way we need to go, I would back it, even though it's not my first choice.
Yeah, I think it's in everyone's best interest for the bunkers to get busted. It's just a matter of who's doing the busting.
That's
and
right.
we may be the only country capable of doing that.
Yeah, that's right. And I have seen and read that the Mossad is, they're basically taking some of these nuclear scientists and military and upper government officials and saying, hey, we've got you at gunpoint. Let's go there. We're destroying this. You will either A, help, or B, leave this earth. Yeah. So it's up to you however you want to do it. So I do want to give the Israelis as much time as they possibly, like you mentioned, the 14 days that they've shared, which means they have plenty more planned. That's just what they're sharing now. What does that look like? I want to give them the time to fix the problem and not involve the United States unless it is just absolutely, completely necessary.
You talk about those bunker buster bombs. Earlier on Fox, we got it on the monitors here in the studio. They were showing how that works, where one plane leads in with the initial bomb and the other one follows it up. It is so almost identical to what happened in Top Gun Maverick. Yeah. That mission, down to the terrain.
That's right.
Down to everything.
Dude, I thought about that last night. It's so funny you bring that up. I physically thought about that last night. And the fact that I think everybody understood that movie was based on the idea of what Iran is and does. So it's funny that you bring it up.
Well, they never named the country.
No, of course
they
didn't. No,
they
you're
were
right.
very clever about it.
Very clever about it. Yeah. So fascinating that you picked up on it, because I didn't pick up on it the way you did, but it crossed my mind last night. It's so funny. Gavin Newsom is a guy that most of us feel like is a joke. He's a clown. There's no way that Americans would vote for him, especially in the current political climate that we're in. I want you to hear from Joe Coy, comedian, so funny. And what he says is the reason that Americans will never vote for Gavin Newsom for president.
Gavin Newsom, who's running for president now. Did you know that? Yeah, that's fine.
agree. I don't know what his platform is going to be. Are your taxes too low? Are there not enough homeless people pooping on your streets? Do you hate it that your kids' genitals aren't being mutilated? That was probably too much. All right. Gavin Newsom for president.
Yeah, nobody's going for that. And he's so right. He hits the nail on it. That's the thing that's so important about comedy, that comedians are free to criticize, to make fun of everything, anything and everything. That's the beauty of freedom of speech, right? But they're able to use something funny to get you to think about what's really happening in the world. I love stand-up comics. Even the people that I don't agree with, I think it's funny when they make fun of my side, they make fun of my values, they make fun of everything. That's where we need to be. That is the beauty of freedom of speech. How do we address these societal issues that we all talk about every day in a humorous way?
Yeah, I think he did a great job with that. And he's right. I mean, you go out to California, it's one of the most naturally beautiful places on the planet.
Stunning.
Messing that up would take talent.
Yes, and well, they've done a good job.
They've certainly have.
They got some talent out there.
It's emptying out.
Yes, I know. They're losing people. I think last year was 500,000, the biggest exodus from the most beautiful and most populated state in America in its history, if I'm not mistaken. It's unbelievable and completely believable at the same time. Why would you subject yourself to... I went to the gym yesterday, and I met a woman that's moved here from San Francisco. I have no idea her politics. No idea, and certainly wasn't going to ask. Wasn't going to bring it up. And I do that here. I don't do that in my everyday life. But there was that little bit of question mark that wondered, why'd you end in Atlanta, Georgia? What was it that brought you here? And of course, I asked her that question, and not the political question, but what brought you here? She's like weather, and that sort of thing, cost of living, all that sort of stuff. And I couldn't help but think, makes sense. I hope you vote that way while you're here. Please don't California my Georgia.
Yes, exactly.
That'll do it for us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for caring about the country the way that we do. Thank you for caring about the values that built America. It is so important that we have these discussions. This freedom of speech that we're exercising is imperative to protect from people like AOC who would silence you in a moment's notice. That's what socialists and communists do. And they do it telling you how they're doing it in your best interests.
Yes.
Which is the insanity of it all. 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co. 10% off or 12 months, 0% financing, windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters. They do it all. For Angela Morabito, in for Front Office Los and Jure, my name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law